The following is a recording of our 8th Artist Feedback AMA held within the MetaJungle Discord on February 10th. This live session was hosted by Mike Schmidt and Jeremy Cohen. We would like to thank them, the artists that submitted their work to be reviewed, and everybody who attended. These sessions provide valuable information for all members of the NFT space. We look forward to hosting more of these sessions as well as providing free resources and tools for all of us to grow and succeed in the NFT space together. With that, let's go on ahead and get into it.
I'm going to share my screen now. Can you pull up, it's the wild pear tree, and it's Serhat, and he had some questions.
Hello, Mike.
Me and
Hey.
Good both have these questions too for you.
Oh, you guys got it both pulled up. Okay, cool. Hey, what's up, Serhat? How are you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Good, good, good. I was just looking at your work last night. I figured since you're here, then we would go over yours first. We'll do the
Yes,
artists that
please.
are actually here first, because the other artists that don't show up, they can always watch the replay. So cool. So your series is Wild Pear Tree, and I briefly read over the artist statement, and seems like it's kind of like a sentimental. You've always been kind of fascinated with the trees, but it's because you think of this wild pear tree that's like sort of very close to your house, right? And so it's like been there since childhood. Is that true? Is he unmuted?
Sorry, I can't hear you, Mike.
Can everybody else hear me?
Yeah, we
I can hear you.
Strange. I wonder why you can't hear me. It'd be best for him to be able to hear me to get the feedback.
It's now okay. I can hear you.
Okay, you could hear me. All right. So yeah, so I was reading about, I went over your artist statement and read about the wild pear tree, and how you have this fascination with trees, and that you think it's possibly because this wild pear tree that's close to home in your village that's been there since childhood, right? So you want to tell us like a little bit about it, or you don't have to.
As I mentioned in the description, this is a tree very close to my home village where I was born and raised. This is a very, very old pear tree, older than my grandfather. So all of my grandfather, my dad, me, and my son, we all have some memories around that tree. When I started to take photos in 2004, I also started to take photos of that tree. I have many photos that I took around that tree, but most of them was image quality of those photos was very low. So I just picked that one I took last 7 years.
Oh, so how many years have you been photographing the tree?
It's actually more than 18 year. But those are I took those photos by my analog camera, by film camera, and I don't have the digital ones. So I bought a digital camera at 7 years ago. Then I started to take again those photos. So I have digital photos of the last 7 years.
Mm-hmm. And so what was if you guys can pull up some of the questions that he had about the series? I really like this one a lot. This
Yeah.
is a beautiful one.
Yeah, I got the questions.
Yeah.
You want me to read them?
Yeah, I think it was something to the extent of like, do some of these photographs look too similar? Or they're, yeah, can you go over it?
Yeah, that was the first question. Are there any similar photos in this collection?
Sure. And so, looking at the collection, there's definitely a lot of similar photos, right? I mean, you are photographing a series about a pear tree, so there's going to be the pear tree in a lot of the photos, right? And so, we have a lot of these sort of. I'm going to place these as from oldest. So you obviously have a lot of these where you have it, backlit, so the sun is behind. So there is a repetition of a lot of the same type of um, hour in the day, and it seems like there's two different types of days that you're shooting on, and it's like either like midday bright sunlight, or you're shooting like when it's like a little cloudy and it kind of looks like there's a storm gonna roll in. And I think that if this place is really close to your house, right, that I would try to get out there and photograph in like every possible condition you can. Like if you could get, cotton candy colored skies, and you can be out there on one day when it's pouring raining, and just like, show like a different, different dynamic to some of the images, then I think it could bring the series more to life, because there's definitely a few images here, like let's say, pear tree number 3, pear tree number 9, that are just like really closely similar, that like, you could probably pick, which one you think is the better one. There's these two here, pear tree 4 and pear tree 5. Um, that have this cow, right? That you could pick between one of two of these. This one's like a lot more silhouetted. It's a little too dark for my taste. I'd probably go with the other one. And I was looking at this with my girlfriend the other night, and I said, it almost feels like you know one specific scene from a film, and I feel like well, not all of them, but there's a lot that do feel that way, and I feel like we want to see more scenes from that film. So I do enjoy this perspective that you took here, and this seems a bit different from the others as well. And you have this beautiful contrast between how you have this kind of golden hour light here, and a great silhouette of this gentleman. He's perfectly placed his legs, and he's walking with a stick. I don't know what this is, but I think more shots that are different, like that shot, and you know, um, like this shot here, and this far away perspective. But definitely want to see like different days, and different weather, and different environments that would bring the tree to life, to feel more human in a sense. I want to see the tree up close, the roots, and everything like that. Jeremy, how do you feel about the collection, or anything that I've said, and about that question in particular there?
Yeah, I think you made a lot of great points. I totally agree with getting out there in different weather conditions, different settings. I think overall, I think the story is strong. I love how there's this rich history connected, that the tree connects with your family. And I like the idea of even time with the tree. Like, I don't know if what the seasons are like there, but if you have different seasons, maybe like document the tree, yeah, and throughout the year in different seasons. Um, I really like the note about the light, and a lot of these photos are backlit, which is I think the backlit photos are great, but I think it's like there's too many, there's a lot of them. It like outweighs the other ones. Um, and yeah, I think like looking at your screen now, Mike, I think like 3, 4, and 5 are way too similar. Like,
Yeah, these three.
they all have similar frames with the cow. Is that a cow? With the cow,
Yeah,
with the cows in them. And even the fifth one seems like a little too dark. And I don't even see a tree in there. So I'd say like the first one out of those three is
yeah.
the
This
strong.
one was
Oh,
too
okay, it's
too
a wide
dark
one.
for me. Hmm.
Gotcha. It's a wide
Yeah,
one. Cool.
yeah. Well, another
Um,
thing I noticed is a lot of very wide
yeah.
shots, and maybe it would benefit from like some 50 millimeter shots or something
I
like
would
that, or like.
I would even say like I think my biggest note is I would be curious for some subjects to have some interaction with the tree. Not necessarily even like touching the tree or anything, but I mean maybe like sitting in the tree or sitting next to the tree, but just like close to the tree doing whatever activities they do, like hiking, working on the horse, hanging out with your family. Like the way you mentioned how you've been going there with your father and your kid, and that really interests me, and I would love to, even if it was like a self like that seems like a self-portrait opportunity where you put your camera on a tripod and document that moment. I'd be very interested in that.
Great points. Yeah, absolutely. So how do you have any? So what were the other questions? Boone?
The the second one was, is this a cohesive collection? Are there any photos that do not fit the whole story? Should I add more photos to tell the story better?
Yeah, I mean, so to answer that, like, yeah, there's cohesion in the story, and it's like, of course, there's going to be cohesion if if it's about a single tree. But I think that what we're looking at, that we're looking for, seeking for, is like something more dynamic to the cohesion, like a bit more storytelling. And the great thing is uh, he really lives nearby. So I think you just got to get out and visit it more. And I think Jeremy had some great points about like, getting out there. Maybe there's some self-portrait opportunities. Like, and of course we mentioned earlier, like the different times of day, because I want to see what the tree looks like in the wintertime when it's when it loses all its leaves, if that happens in this area. Or like, I want, and some of the shots I feel like I want to see the tree more up close, because in these photographs we can't see any detail in the trees at all because they're mostly backlit. So I think the lines in a tree and the rivets and all that stuff sort of tell a story like a human hand that has wrinkles tell a story. So there's so much that you can do with this. So I think that it's just about getting out and just shooting more. And you talk about how you have a lot of images of this. I'm interested in seeing like what else you have here, because I'm very good at grabbing through different images and kind of putting a story together through it. And there's a lot of people that can create really great photographs, but it's harder for them to like kind of sequence them in a specific way. But I think yeah, I think that's the feedback that we have for this. You have some really interesting ones in here, and I think you just have to go out and you got to continue to shoot, and you have to change your weather conditions a bit, and you kind of have to think outside of the box and just get out there and document.
Yes, you are absolutely right, but I have such a problem. I used to live in my village when I was child, but now I am living in a very different city. So I just a few times can visit my village in a year, and when I visit there, took those photos.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, I mean, when you can get there, you do it. And, in the meantime, maybe if you're really drawn to trees, you photograph what you have around you. Or, you meet a family who is very involved in, their pear tree that's near you, if there's pear trees near you, or whatever type of tree it is. And, you say, you approach them, build a relationship, and try to create a documentary story on them. But yeah, as far as everything else, I mean, I think your descriptions are really good. You have everything listed in your descriptions, and um, yeah,
There was,
I kind of, what's that? There was another question.
yeah, there's two more questions. The third one's kind of similar though. It's, is there any photo that does not fit the overall technical quality of the photos? And then should I remove some photos? Those are the last two questions.
Yeah, I think we kind of already went over that. So like I'd remove the ones that are just like too similar. Like Jeremy talked about up here. 3, 4, and 5 being very similar. So technically, I definitely think 5 is the least technically sound photograph from these three. Let's take a look at this. Number 3. Yeah, but number 3 is an interesting shot here. I do
like that
wish
one a
we.
lot.
Yeah, it's just really good too. I mean, I wish we could see a little bit more of the detail on the herder here, but I think the composition is really good. Like like how separated the cattle are from each other, and how you've created this scene right here where there's a cattle in between them, and I love the human touch to the cattle here, and the tree is really beautiful, and you got this starlight right here. So I don't think the other two pictures hold any weight to this one. So I would definitely remove those two. And go ahead, Jeremy. You said you really like that one.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's like a lot going on, but in a good way. Like I like how everything's composed in there. There's no subjects really merging each other. Like I like how that first cow fits in the frame so nice, and the second cow kind of frames that first cow nice, and it doesn't really touch the edge of the tree too much. So there's some separation there, and then it's the sun, and then it's the tree, and then another cow, and then a person. The sky's really nice. There's some nice layering going on in the photo. I just think it's just a pleasing photo to look at.
Yeah, and it's very hard to do this. Like
Yeah.
this is the type of documentary photography that's really hard to do, is to have a lot of busy elements, but to lay them out in a way that is not busy and beautiful. And I think that you've nailed it in that shot. So
Yeah, it really looks like very carefully composed and very perfect. Like the photographer looks like he knows how to compose an image in that photo.
absolutely agree with that. Trying to go back here on yeah, and so yeah, and there was something about this one that I really liked. I like the composition here. I love I love her on the horse, like, and I love the separation between the tree and her. Like the distance is perfect. It feels like there's almost rain coming down in the distance behind the horse. Got this really dramatic sky. I really like that image, and I do like some of the further compositions like this one too. There's something really storytelling and well executed as coming from a technical standpoint with that. Whereas like for instance, like this shot here, compositionally, I don't think it's as technically, solid as some of the other ones. It's just you got a lot of busy things going on right here, and then just a lot of negative space above, and a lot of negative space on the left of the tree where, had these shadows over here not been here, you could probably pull the crop down like this and sort of have a crop that's like that. But even so, I don't think it's as strong as some of the rest. So yeah, like so technically I'd remove this one, I'd remove this one. Um let's see this shot. This shot, I think someone already actually is this one sold? Yeah, this I think this is a shot that's actually sold. So obviously, yeah,
Yes, this is the sold one.
someone bought this one, yeah, and it's your composition is really great, great here as well, and it's really same thing as before. I love this fence over here with the barbed wire, how you can see it, really cool silhouette. Because you have so many silhouetted shots, so then you got to just kind of like go through and sort of like remove some of these silhouetted shots. So like, like yeah, this is a nice shot, that for me is like you can keep it, you could let it go. You just have so many that are from that perspective, right? um, yeah, that's really all the feedback that I have. I mean, you could probably make this series down from 11 to like six, six really stronger ones. So yeah, I'd work on that, and I'd work on heading back out and capturing some more in different weather conditions, and some of the stuff that Jeremy mentioned, like maybe some self-portrait stuff, and some of the other stuff I mentioned. Like I'd love to see the detail of the actual tree, like up close, like where the sun is actually hitting the tree and not behind the tree. But that's all I've got. So
Okay,
appreciate
thank
it.
you so
Thank you.
much.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
welcome. You're very
I
welcome. Thank you.
I will remove, as you said, some of them, and maybe add one. But I will ask to you when I make change.
Yeah, that's fine. You shoot me a DM with a few photos. And sometimes it takes me a while to respond back, but I'll definitely respond to you. I know you. We've done. You guys have invited me where you guys were hosts on your talk space for Turkey, and I had a really great time. And so I definitely remember you. You're a good community member and supporter. So yeah, you DM me, and I DM back to people that definitely have added value, and I appreciate you. So we're gonna move on now. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your support all the time.
Absolutely, man. All right, cool. So moving on to Isolated Moon by OMG Visuals. And he's waited a while to put out this series. He was very careful about it. Is OMG here or is he not? He might be sleeping.
Hello, Mike. Hello,
Oh,
Mike. How are you?
you're here?
Yes, guys, I'm here. Hello, Jeremy. How are you, man?
Good, good.
I'm good. Sorry, I keep going on mute and not mute, but I'm good. How about yourself, man?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for all you do and all the support. I always remember your name. I see you everywhere. You're always being very supportive, great community member. So glad to see that you finally put this series together, and really love how you executed this. Like, look at your banner. Like, your banner is fantastic. Your you know, your logo is fantastic. Isolated Moon, really cool name. You know, and the photographs are beautiful. I'm glad that you took my advice the other day, because you did not have this video image in here, and I said you should definitely add this, and it should be the highest price thing. Because let's take a look at it. This is really cool what you did here. Like, these photographs of the moon are so super beautifully detailed. It totally makes me believe in the moon. So a lot of people say that it's not real, but it looks pretty real to me, and you're photographing it, so, and you're doing it so well. So that's a really cool way to show that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, like, the type of gear that you're using to do this, and like what it takes to do this. I mean, you can't, it has to be a specific kind of day to get these specific kinds of shots, right? Because there's only full moons sometimes, and there's only these crescent moons on other days. So how long did it take you to create the series?
Yes, exactly. It nearly took me 8 months to capture the whole cycle because, for example, from the first quarter and a new moon, the moon will set nearly around half hours after the sunset. But each night, the moon will fall back around 50 minutes. So night after night, I have to adjust my photography time 15 minutes later to capture the whole cycle. And
Wow.
sometimes, yes, and sometimes the weather was cloudy, or for example, the air was polluted and dusty, so I couldn't get a clear image of the moon. So to capture the whole 28 days of moon, it nearly took me 8 months to complete the whole cycle.
Mm-hmm. Wow, 28 months you said?
Uh, no, 8 months to complete
Oh.
the each 28 picture of the moon.
Oh, 8 months. I mean, 8 months is still a really long
Yes.
time to work on a photo project. And yeah, really interesting, really beautifully laid out. What did you have questions in your original submission?
No, not any question. Uh, I just wanted to speak out about the moon cycles and the way I edited the photos and the way I captured them. For capturing each image, for creating each image, I had to capture around 175 up to 250 single images. Because of the moon depth of field, I have to change my depth of field to have all the moon surface in focus. And as you
Wow.
can see in the images, all of the moon surface is in complete focus.
Look at this. This one's this is one of my favorites. This full round one. You know?
Yes, this is actually two different time of the moon. The left side is the last quarter of the moon, and the right side is the first quarter of the moon.
Wow.
And merged together to shape a complete sphere. All of the other images, this is, for example, the full moon. You cannot see the shadow in between. If you compare those two photos together and put them aside each other, you can see the difference.
Yeah, I really like this one, but I don't like
This
it as much as this one, just because the detail in this one just it feels so like I could touch it. You know, the detail in this
Yes,
feels so detailed.
exactly. It's because of the how
Shadow.
yes, it's because of the shadow in between and how sun reflects the moon, reflects the light out of the moon. That's because that happens, and as you can see, all the creators will pop out in this situation. That is the difference between the full moon and the two crescent merged together. That is the difference.
Wow. Well, yeah, they're really. What do you think about these, Jeremy? Like this?
Yeah, it's totally different from what I'm shooting, so I'm learning a lot just doing this right now. But it's pretty cool stuff. It's a whole different process from what I'm used to, and I think you're onto something here.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of work too. He's got to merge multiple images because of the depth of field and stuff. Now,
Yeah,
so
what I would do. Oh, sorry.
yeah, no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's just really interesting to hear you explain it. So, if your goal is to try to, what's how many have you had? Have you had one sold off of this collection? Did it say or
He just
No,
dropped it, I
not
think.
yet.
you just dropped it?
I
Okay,
just dropped
so
it. I
I
just
think
dropped it 2 days ago.
okay, cool. Well, congrats. And something that I think would be cool to help get sales for this is maybe I don't know if you're into video or not, but I would say to experiment with it. If not, make doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just you could shoot it on your iPhone or Android and just show a little bit of your process of how you do it. And plus maybe even showing some behind the scenes clips if you have any clips of you like out in the field or where you're taking these where you're making these from.
Yes,
Yeah, so
I do have them. In the
Okay.
process of 8 months, I actually take some images to put out as a story in Instagram or in Twitter. I have the backstage shots of me and my tripod and camera, and also my tracker shooting the moon. I do have them, and I can upload them as a story behind the scene stories. Thank you for the advice.
yeah, and so if
Absolutely.
you guys aren't familiar with Jeremy, I mean, he's, you know, you should look up his social media stuff, especially his like TikTok and Instagram and stuff. He's definitely a master of marketing and charisma and obviously you know, advertisement and stuff like that for video stuff. He does a lot of commercial type things for a lot of major brands. So when he says, you know, you could put something together to like bring eyes to it and attention, you know, take a look at some of his reels and some of his TikTok stuff where he's done some of that stuff to get the word out about certain products and stuff. And so that's probably something you could do to get that out. But like he just put it out. When I was first looking at the series, I was thinking to myself, well, you know, what would I like, you know, what doesn't fit or what doesn't remove? And, you know, my opinions changed since the first time I looked at it. Because when I first looked at it, I was looking at it as like, oh, well, these two shots here, like this, you know, what the isolated moon's second 26th crescent and the isolated moon's third and 25th crescent seem, you know, very similar. And, you know, maybe I'd pick this one and lose this one. But after hearing about the process and everything like that and understanding that there's so many phases, I don't know that any of them need to be removed and that everything seems like perfect here. So I don't even really have constructive feedback on this at all. So we just need to help get, you know, more eyes on your work. And like Jeremy said, like, you know, possibly putting out you know, a video about your process and stuff like that. And definitely getting collectors to feel a more personal connection with you and your process is sometimes the difference between, you know, making multiple sales or not.
As you told me before, I couldn't delete any of the selection because it totally shows the whole cycle. And if I removed any photos of this collection, the collection would be not complete. That is
Yeah,
why
I agree. I agree.
I needed to put every. I also you see there is a little first image of the first and last croissant. I will send that to you in the direct messages, and you can see very small and thin layer that it actually so thin. It's just the slim crescent of the moon on both sides. I mean, on the first night and the last night of the cycle. It is
Mhm.
so thin. Yes, I didn't upload that one because it was so thin and it was basically a black image. So that one actually didn't fit, but the other ones, I thought, no, I cannot delete any of them because it would be incomplete.
Yeah, so initially, I thought that I would have constructive feedback on this series, but I don't. I think everything's executed flawlessly. I think this is a sellout series. I think it's just, a matter of, you just dropped it. So let's get some eyes on it and definitely, get in touch with some collectors that are like interested in this type of thing. But I think we can move on to the next artist because I really don't think that you need anything else here. I think you're an expert at what you do. Cool.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Nice
so much, man. I really appreciate the comments. I also didn't answer one question that you asked me about the equipment that I used. I used Samyang 800 millimeter mirror lens plus double X teleconverter on my Fujifilm X-T2 with a Ioptron Sky Tracker to track the moon over the few hours that I shot at each night, and that's it.
Awesome. Well, I'm a Fuji shooter too. I shoot a Fuji X-T4, but I definitely do not have an 800 millimeter lens with a 2x teleconverter. That's insane. But I do have a 2x teleconverter but I can't get that far. But that's awesome, man. I love Fuji. Big fan.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for the video uh, instruction. I will actually try to do that and upload it on Twitter and promote it with that. So thank you so much, guys, for the time and opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. Cool. So we have wild portraits. Actually, is the artist here? If not, we'll jump to an artist that is here. This is you know Anal Rea.
He's here.
Yeah, he's here.
He's here. Awesome. Who's that?
Yeah,
That's
I'm here.
Metagirl?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you for sure.
Okay,
How are you
okay.
doing today? How are
I'm
you
fine,
doing?
and you?
Good. I really like good, especially after looking at these pictures. I really love wildlife stuff. And I know one of your questions was like, is wildlife not doing well, like in the NFT space? I think a lot of people
Yeah, I
ask these
mean,
questions. A lot of people ask these questions like, oh, is abstract not doing well? Is wildlife not doing well? Is street not doing well? I think they all could do really well. I think if they're done well, I think if they're done, well, if they're done differently, if you can feel something from it, and I definitely feel something from these photos. I mean, I favorited a lot of them, right? I really like a lot of them. They're beautifully shot. The fact that you're able to get this close to what this fox, the fox, it looks like a fox. Yeah, I mean,
it's a,
get
yeah, it's a fox.
yeah, I mean, so hey, babe, look at this
Here
fox.
in it, we have
Like,
a little bit different foxes, so
yeah, like your ability to get this close and show emotion from the animal, like as if it's human, is incredible.
yeah, I mean, that's the main part of the collection. I mean, trying to to transmit the same emotions or the same feelings as like a normal human being portrait could transmit. I mean, I think that the difficult part. I mean, you have to like search for very specific images on where mainly the eyes they have to be like in that position or in some places that they can give some feelings, because I mean, if you upload an image of a bird giving you the back side of the bird, I mean, that's not gonna give you anything. So
Yeah, I mean, these are wild animals, and they have a connection with you.
all of them, yeah. I mean, if you go to my Instagram or to any place, you can see some. I mean, I don't do. I mean, that's, I think, an error that I do. That, I mean, in those moments, you have to be very silent, and you can't move a lot. And I'm not thinking about doing myself a video of myself filming the animal or something. But I mean, I have some few videos. So if you go to my Instagram, you will see that all of them are wild, and how I work them and everything.
So tell us a little bit about the process. So I didn't go into reading exactly all this. So where are you shooting this, and how are you using a telephoto lens that's just so far away that you're, because it doesn't
No,
seem that way. It doesn't seem
not
that way
not
because
not
they have
really.
a connection with you, right?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this is a collaborative project. I mean, there are some images from another photographer that is called Mario Sugya, that is in the first line of of the description of the collection. And yeah, he is from. I mean, he has now he lives here in Spain, near to me, like a 10-minute walk. But he had lived on Yosemite National Park, very close to, and some of the images are are taken by him, and they are all of them like shot by of the car. And I mean, I don't know how you shoot in Yosemite. I only have been once with him, but shooting landscape. And here in Spain, the animals are very shy because of there is a lot of illegal hunting, and that's a very, I mean, here a lot of years ago, I mean, nowadays is getting a little bit less illegal hunting, but they used to kill animals because they like. I mean, they kill a owl because they want to shoot him. I mean, they are not gonna do anything with him, but they want to shoot it, so they shoot it and they kill it. So they are very shy, and here you have to work like with they're called hides, that they are like blanks that you put on you to cover yourself and to mimetize with environment. Yeah, I mean, you have to work a lot with the. I mean, every species is different because they move in different areas, in different ecosystems, and they used to. I mean, for example, the bee eaters, they used to perch in very fine branches that they are very long and very. I mean, that they are in very plain areas. Then there is like you can see the buzzard. There are more. There are birds that live more on the forest, so they like more thick branches, and you have to find them. They like branches from they have a lot of view, a very high viewpoint where they can see all the animals that they of the prey, all the prey. So yeah, I mean, you have, first of all, you have to search that animal. I mean, you have to know that animal in which area it moves, and I mean, which place he likes, forest, the desert, beaches, or whatever. Then you have to find it. I mean, because some animals they have a very close area where they hunt and they live, but another ones like for example, the fox can move like, I don't know, 20 kilometers a day or more. um and yeah, it's just a matter of going to the same place, watching what he does, in which places he perches himself, where he goes to hunt, at what hours it comes from the forest, everything. And then when you know, for example, a branch that he likes a lot, you have to like construct the height, and then let the height. There are some days for the animals to get used to it, and then you have to go like, I mean, for example, in birds of prey, they are very shy, and you have to go in the dark, go into the height in the dark, and with a little bit of luck, they are going to go to the branch if that day you have luck. And yeah, I mean, it's a long process.
Okay, and so simple question, just what are you using, a telephoto lens? How long is it?
Yeah, I'm using I mean, it's not a super telephoto lens like 800. I mean, I'm using a 300 millimeters, but I like it a lot because it's a 2.8. It's very luminous. So it gives me, and he had a lot of bokeh, so it gives me a lot of artistic opportunity to blurry those backgrounds or to create like depth of field. And if I need a little bit more of focal length, I can put a teleconverter, or I can crop them a little bit on processes. I mean, a lot of them, they are even cropped, they have zero crop, but some of them, for example, the great gray owl had like a 50% crop or a little bit more, because I mean, it wasn't that close. So yeah.
Nice, and so yeah, so that makes sense to me, because with the 300 millimeter, they could still spot you, and that's why we're getting
Yeah.
this emotion in the images. So
That's a good point of doing photography from a height, because you choose where you put the height. So if you need to put it a little bit more close, you put it, because you are gonna leave it there from the animals to get used. So that's a benefit.
Makes sense. So, did you have any questions about your collection? I mean, as far as being constructive here, I mean, most of these are really amazing, right? This one here is my least favorite. It seems out of place. I think it has a lot to do with like your composition here. There's just so much negative space. The detail isn't there like it's on the rest of the image. It feels a little flat and a little bit, foggy or something. And I don't know that I feel as much emotion from the animal in this shot. I think it's the weaker one in your series.
That could be an error made by me, because for me that image was very special for me, because it's a little chamois. I mean, it's a little baby, and for me it was very very special to see them like playing around. But yeah, apart from my emotional value to the image, could be a little bit a lot of place. I mean, I was trying to like create like 4 like snowy images, then I was trying to like create a graduated color range from the 1 to the 20. For example, the 1 is on snow, and the last one, the 20, is like very black. I mean, trying to get a lot of transition, but I mean, yeah, that could be a little bit more. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Jeremy, you were saying something? Or maybe
I was just gonna agree. I really am drawn to all the animal portraits that feel like they're human portraits, because it's not often you get a portrait of an animal as if you were taking a headshot of a person. This animal's staring right into the camera, and it's it's an animal. I don't know. It's really cool to see, because I've never seen. It's not often you see a fox up close like that, like almost having a conversation with it. So, or that owl shot right there is incredible. So I think in general, I like the headshots the best of the animals where they're looking in the camera. It could almost make a really cool series if you want to make it even. If you really wanted to crunch down this series and make it a smaller amount of photos, I would say just the headshots, because yeah, they're really cool.
yeah, and so you only have 2 of these that sold. How long is the series been out? Because I mean, I think there should be more than 2 sold.
Could be like let me see, 4 months ago.
So 4 months ago, you've had two sold, and there's not a lot of favorites on these either, right?
Oh no, the first salt was made. Let me check. The first salt was made three months ago, and the last one was made 2 months ago.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying the whole series you created how many months ago?
Yeah, 4 months ago. Yeah.
4 months ago, and so there's a lot of brilliant images in here, and so
I mean, and I give him a lot of I try to give a lot of engagement on Twitter with the version, but I don't know why.
yeah, I mean, maybe pick a couple of the birds, like maybe the best ones out of the birds, like there's 4 in a row here. Maybe stick like I think this one's really strong, like with how he's just like staring at you here. It's beautiful. The colors are great. Maybe this one's a little less strong, right? It doesn't fit as much as the
More
rest. Like yeah, it's a beautiful photograph, but it doesn't have that like intensity that these other ones
Yeah.
have, right? So maybe stick to that intensity. Drop some of the ones that don't have the intensity. I mean, even though this bear doesn't exactly, I mean, I still really like the photograph. I don't think you're not selling photographs because there's some of them that aren't as good as the others. I mean, I think they're all, pretty damn good. I think it has probably. Go ahead.
Considering that I have sold 2, I don't think that should be very. I mean, I don't know what would think the collectors about taking off some images. I don't know.
Well, I don't think collectors are not buying it because there's too many images or something. I just think that there's not enough eyes on the series for some reason. So, like, what are you doing on, Twitter or like Discord, or just in the community in general to kind of like, get people to connect with you and want to come and look at the work, or how are you getting the photo in the eyes of people? Is that the issue? It must be because the photographs are too good.
I mean, I've been talking in a lot of spaces about wildlife. I have been into. I into a collective that is called. Let me check. The Wildlife Collective that promotes the wildlife NFTs too. Discord I don't use a lot because I don't know very well how it works. And I did a lot of tweets, a lot of threads. I mean, I engage with the collection. A lot of people like it, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have my eye on it. I mean, if I had 0.2, I would definitely buy one of these. So, there's probably people watching that would probably, want to buy one. So, I think it probably just has something to do with getting it in the eyes of more people, and whether that means being more active on Twitter or Discord, or, doing even more spaces, or, starting your own wildlife Discord to teach people how to get these intimate portraits, and then so that more people know who you are and stuff like that. It's not always about making amazing photographs on here. Like a lot of times, it's a huge marketing game, and yesterday on OpenSea, I'm sorry, on O'Shiny's channel, OpenSea was on there, and they were saying that there's a lot of creators, and then there's some creators that are also marketers, but there's just tons and tons and tons of creators that aren't marketers. And so sometimes you got to just kind of hook up with someone with that that can market well and help, and I'll do the best that I can to showcase some of the work from today that I think should really be in the eyes of others. That's a collection that doesn't need much help, and I don't think that your collection needs much help. And that's it. And we'll go from there. But I think the images are really great. Did you have any other questions?
I mean, I don't think that's a problem. But do you think that being that much time without a lot of sales could push the collectors back, or it's just no sense?
Are you saying because the collection has been out for so long that turns off the
Yeah.
collector? I mean, I don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I collect from people who have had collections that are 4 to 5 months old that have had no sales, and then I buy 1 or 2 pieces, and then I go on my Twitter and I say, "This is an amazing emerging artist that's has been undiscovered. I picked up these 2 pieces. I think the work is amazing." And then all of a sudden, they get 5 sales that day, and they haven't had a sale in 5 months. So,
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I don't agree with that. That because it's been out for a certain amount of time, and I don't think all the collectors are going and looking at the activity and time frame and oh, when was this minted? I don't think it goes that deep. With some collectors, it probably does, but there's something missing as to why you're not making the sales, and it's not the work. So that's all that I have right now. So anything I can help with in the future, I will.
Mike,
Yeah. And the last.
can I actually
Sorry?
ask you a question about this collection?
Yeah, sure.
So with it being a collab and stuff, one thing I noticed, I know that we always say put your name and all that. Do you think he should put which artist is the photographer of each picture in his descriptions?
I mean, how many people are within the collaboration?
Just me and Mario, 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should go into the description, sure. I mean, well, yeah.
I mean,
Your descriptions
yeah,
in general, your descriptions in general should also just have artist name, collection name, and then your description should tell us that it's a 1 of 1. Just because I've mentioned this many times. Well, it says down here but this is the main description. But this description here should also have that because this stays with the collectors.
Okay.
I've mentioned this many times. So it's just an extra safety net for collectors to if you write this is a 1 of 1 and because once you sell this and I own it, you cannot change this description anymore.
Yeah.
And if you go ahead and you go on Rarible or Foundation and you sell this again, this
You're right.
this is my proof and evidence that
Okay.
no, this is supposed to be a 1 of 1. So I would do that in descriptions, and yeah, I would list which artist shot which photo. But to be honest with you, you guys work so well together that it looks like one photographer.
Yeah, I mean,
except go ahead.
The edition part was all done by me, but some of the images, the shot was from my friend Mario, but I edited in my style because he preferred to do that and to be more uniform. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great, cool. Well, we only done 3.
Do you think that being a collaborative project could throw back collectors too, or that's just not?
I mean, that's something that I haven't really had the time to think about much. I mean, I would say probably not if I really like the collection and I'm buying it as a 1 of 1. But the thing about a collaborative process is I have to hope that Unai and Mario are both in it for the long run. You know what I'm saying? And do you guys both have Twitters? Because
Yeah,
when I buy from people, I don't just buy because I like an image. I mostly buy also because I believe in that person and I believe in that they're long term and they're not just in it to grab some ETH and sell it and then leave, and if there's a bear market that they're just gonna run away. I like to see that people are involved in the community and actually so yeah. So I mean, in a sense, I'd have to look into 2 people as opposed to 1, but no, I mean, I think we're just overthinking this too much. I just think that there's not enough eyes on your work. If there was more eyes on your work, there would be more than one favorite on some of these images. They're just, only one person favored this, and it's me. So it's not enough people are seeing it. That's all.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Gotta move on just because we're only three in, and we're already in an hour. So Yeah. But thank you for coming up, and I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you
Kicks
for
and B.
your
Yeah, you got it. Kicks and B. Is he here in the chat room? If not, we can come back to it.
I don't see him.
Okay. Omar's here.
Yep.
Omar, how you doing, Omar?
Goon, I think he's muted by you for some reason.
Muted by me?
No, muted by Goon.
Yeah, I
Oh,
got it. Sorry.
Goon. It's okay. Okay, we weren't up to him yet. So hey, what's up, Omar?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm good.
Awesome. So the streets won't remember me. Well, first of all, Jeremy, I know you're on a time crunch, so just you just let me know when you have to head out, and I will take the rest from here. But you just let me know, okay?
Awesome. Yeah, I think I'll have to go after this critique of this artist. So
Cool. That's perfect. All right, sweet. So the streets won't remember me. So Omar's working on street photography here, and it's in Egypt, and it sounds like it's really illegal to photograph people. It says, with the risk of going to jail, not going to stop me from showing you true life behind the history. Okay, so you want to tell us a little bit more about that, Omar? You get arrested for photographing people there, or what?
Yeah, so basically you can go with the camera and take photos and everything if you're like in the pyramids or some touristic area, but or if you're like a government-owned media production that you're shooting for like some sort of a product or something like that. But as an everyday photographer going with a camera and going out in the street and going alone and shooting people, I am not really sure whether it's illegal or it's more of like abuse of power. But it's you can get in trouble, and they can easily like grab you and send you to jail, and then look at the photos and they see that you don't do anything, but say, hey, no, we suspect that he's a spy or he's doing some photos for terrorism. Let's hold them up. So they can like arrange any sort of anything and like send you to jail or do anything to you.
Well,
It's
with this kind of street photography, it looked like you could kind of be a spy. Look like look like some of the like when they show the TV shows with the detectives and they're out the window of the car. These are really cool,
Yeah,
though.
because most of the shots are taken like in this sense, because like I have to hide my camera whether inside my jacket or like I have my camera my old camera bag. I had like an opening in it that I did, so I have my hand inside the bag, and I have to time. I can't like stand and wait for the subject and the framing and everything. I have to like visualize it first, and then have my camera hidden in the bag. And as I'm moving, I'm taking the shots, so I'm actually not seeing what I'm taking. I only see it when I get back home. So it's like shooting on a film, for example.
Yeah. So the ones that stand out the most to me are like, I mean, I favorited them like ones where I feel like you're like showing a lot of dimension. Like I love this one how you have kind of like foreground here and it leads into these guys. They have like this story going on here. There's like lots of geometry. There's leading lines. The architecture, I like that a lot. You have you kind of frame this one in a really interesting way too. Like you're seeing through something. I think it's really interesting. A thing about photography is like the ability to like show dimension because we live in a three-dimensional world, and so a lot of flat photos to me, like with just that are trying to be seen from far away like this are aren't aren't as beautiful beautifully seen as stuff when you actually use some type of foreground to eliminate that. I love these
This
little
is
light
actually
lamps.
the first one that got sold from this collection.
Oh, nice. I didn't even know. I just kind of favored around on the ones that, that stood out to me the most. This one here, I like how you, with this here, you created that dimension for this here, like with this black and this shadowy area. And, I like what you have going on with like the triangles back here with the boats and stuff. And yeah, really cool. These ones, so, so the streets won't remember me now. I don't, so I don't know like the so is it I guess it's still street photography if you're shooting indoor stuff too. I kind of like what you did here with the blue and the composition, really good composition and stuff here. Now, I saw in your description that this is 111 shots, and so far you've only put out 11 out of 111. And so, what were some of your questions about that? Because I mean, I have my own thing about that.
Yeah, the plan is like to make it like a big project with 111 shots, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna like put all the shots at once. It's gonna be divided into drops.
Smart.
So it's, so my question basically is like, if you as a collector you come see the collection and you see that it's supposed to be 111, but there are only 10, are you gonna wait till the 111 are there then to choose from, or you're okay with picking up like from the drops?
I mean, that's a simple question for me. I mean, if there's strong enough photographs in the first 11, I don't mind picking and buying something from that. What do you feel about that, Jeremy?
Yeah, I think the number is a little ambitious. How many are there total right now?
11.
11.
Yeah, I mean, so sorry, do you mind repeating the strategy again for, are you releasing like 10 more releases until you get to 111?
No, it's not gonna be 10 more releases. Like the first release was 11, and then I'm gonna do like releases. I haven't really decided whether I'm gonna be like doing like 25 releases of 25 or releases of 50.
Gotcha. Are you planning on not releasing more until this sells out, or would you release before it sells out?
Actually, it depends on how long it's gonna take for it to sell out. If I feel like it's
I think that,
dragging,
by the way, that image number 2 is my personal favorite.
Yeah, this one's great. I favorited this.
Yeah,
The colors, right? All that.
that one is absolutely fantastic. Even like I appreciate the small details of it, such as like how the people are framed just inside of that shadow so that you could see their shadows, as well as how the street pole on the right, how
Yep.
it's just barely cropped in, it's not cropped out. Like an amateur photographer would have like cropped that out, or like not, like it's very, I don't know if it's shot that way or cropped in that way, but it's perfect that way. Yeah.
That's really well said. I was thinking the same thing about the street lamp when you were saying it. I was like, I hope he mentions the street lamp too, because how they mirror each other and he fit it in, and how they kind of like juxtaposed like the people, their shape and everything, and the colors in this, and that's definitely one of my favorites as well. Totally.
it's a cropped shot. Like I cropped it this way.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I think the strategy of dropping a little bit more than 111 at the same time is really good, unless you've built like a really high anticipation, sort of like how Jeremy did with his rooftops drop. I mean, he had a Discord going for like a month before his release even came out, and then he kind of strategically, whitelisted people through a raffle, then whitelisted some of his close friends, and then so it was like he already had images that were going to sell before the release even dropped, and then so that built anticipation for other pieces to sell. So like there's so many different ways that you could go about doing it, and it's I'm definitely not like the mastermind behind that type of marketing thing. So like when I come out my Staten Island Ferry series, which is probably going to be about 70 to 80 images, possibly 100, like I'll probably need a marketing team and like a Discord and like a raffle and like art contests to whitelist people to build anticipation and stuff like that. But without anticipation, I think what Jeremy was saying about 111 images is quite ambitious as well.
Yeah, because of like you're saying, the marketing and the anticipation, the whitelisting, and this is why I did not like do plan the drop to be like the 111 go all at once. So it's gonna be like I'm dividing it because it's gonna be easier to maneuver and market like as a small drop.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Well,
But it's
I think you
like
have some.
I'm
Go
dropping
ahead.
4 collections, but the 4 collections are actually one collection, so it's easier to handle.
Mm-hmm. And now, do you already have these photographs taken, or is this something that you plan on taking these photos?
I don't have the 111 all taken, but yeah, I'm finishing up.
Okay. Were you jumping in to say something there, Jeremy? I don't know if I heard heard you or not, but
Yeah, I mean, another thing I just want to say is the title for the series I think is great.
yeah, it's really good.
It's a
Different.
strong title.
Hmm. I sense a
Yeah,
lot of
I think my
solitude.
main thing I'd say is kind of me and Mike's point is once you do release more photos, just know that, not saying it is or it isn't, but it can be a risk to devalue the price of your work if you have more photos out there with less sold.
Hmm.
No, I don't get what you mean.
Mike, I feel like you're pretty good at describing this through words.
So you basically said like devaluing the work because there's more out there. Explain that again once more. What you just said.
Just like the whole, it's like the art world in general is something about creating FOMO, the fear of missing out. Like if you right now these photos that you have minted are more attractive to buy for the common collector because there's more scarcity. There's less photos to choose from before it sells out. So once you do mint more to the collection, if more don't sell first from this collection specifically,
You
then
could
there'll be
lose
a
that
lot more.
momentum. You'll lose the
They'll,
momentum. Hmm.
yeah, there'll be a little bit of momentum lost. You could I mean, it's like kind of reverse psychology almost, because you'd think you'd be able to sell more if you have more available, but in actuality it might be the reverse. And this isn't for sure anything. This is just my thoughts. I'm putting myself in the shoes of a
Yes,
collector.
so basically you're saying like a better strategy would be like not to make any more drops before this one sells out. So like this one is gone.
Yes.
Like,
Do
this
not
is
drop
basically
anything.
the plan I
Yeah.
had in mind. Yeah.
Do not drop anything until this is uh, either fully sold out or like one away from selling out or something. In my opinion.
Yeah, not necessarily. Like you don't have to take that advice, but it's definitely
But
something to consider
this is
before
what I was gonna do anyway.
Well, listen, this is like what my Solitary Days series like right now. Like, so originally it was like 6 images, and they sold out, and so now I've been taking a lot of images lately. In the past few weeks, I've been going out shooting a lot, and a lot of those photos have fit into that series. And like I'll just post like on my Twitter like "Good morning," and I'll post a shot. And if it gets like a super amount of attention, there's some people that message me and ask to private buy. And so like uh, 2 times that happened that actually fits into my Solitary Days series. So I make sure that they're going to buy it before I even put it into the series. So now my series is sold out at 8, and if that makes any sense. So like that's not something that I planned to do either. It's just that it just kind of happened that way, and I was like, oh well, this works out really well because it doesn't devalue the scarcity for the collectors anymore, because it actually looks better when there's more sold out. So that's sort of a strategy that I took that I didn't even think of. It just kind of came to my head. I was like, that purple rain photograph that I took in the snow, and then that other shot I walk alone on the boardwalk the other day. They very much fit into my Solitary Days series because they had that kind of like solitude cyberpunk kind of a feeling, and they were vertical, and that series is a vertical series. Your series is a vertical series. So it's like I kind of threw those photos out just to see if people like them on Twitter. And then when I see like an overwhelming response, and then some people DMing me about like, were saying like, where's the buy button on Twitter? I was like, oh, well, someone wants to buy this, but like, I don't want to mint this as a one of one on Foundation because they don't have one of ones anymore. Now you have to be within a collection, or what collection does this fit into? So now I sort of think about my collections as shoe boxes, and I have different images in these shoe boxes, and now I'm out shooting, creating things, and I come and I post that image on Twitter, and I get a response from it. If people really like it, now where do I put it? And it's like, if you can get people interested beforehand, then it's already a sale, and then you put it in there, and you could keep your collection sold out without even having to have the risk. So you could take away the idea that this is going to be 111, and you can delete that, and you can just say, you don't even have to say how many shots it's going to be. You can just say each shot is 1 of 1. And then, when this sells out, like, you might come out with a new shot, and it's a great shot, it's a banger, and you post it on Twitter and everybody loves it. And, find the collector first, and then add that image and reserve it for that collector, and then he'll buy it, and you keep a continued sold out collection. And I did not learn that anywhere. I just did that by accident one day, and I thought that I was like, this is great. I don't know if that helps at all.
Yeah, I actually like that because it takes a lot of the pressure of like creating what are the next 50 drops or what are the next 25 drops. You're gonna take like one shot at a time. If this one sells, okay, let's mint it. If it doesn't like resonate with people, so okay, it's a nice shot, but it doesn't get to be minted yet. So yeah, I like that approach.
Yeah, and so because I've done that, it's actually pushed me. If you look at Explore Photography right here, Solitary Days, I'm on the second row now because I kept it sold out. So originally it was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then I recently kept it sold out. I added this shot, this that was already gentleman here who has an amazing gallery, the Dragon's Den. He already was going to buy it, so I said, what, if it's there, and then Tyler Scully, Spectre's Art, he wanted it, and so I said, let's we work something out, and now that's in there, and so that pushed my series to the second row on the front page. And so now when I look on there, like I have 55 likes, 23 likes, and a lot more people are seeing my stuff, which is not something that I intended on happening. It just sort of happened. So if that helps at all. So I think,
Yeah,
I think,
I actually like that approach.
yeah. So yeah, maybe go with that approach instead. But I don't have any other feedback. I think you got some really, really compelling images out in this series. It feels a lot. It looks like you shoot a lot in 2s or 1s and 2s. So it's got this feeling of me about that of solitude. With like a lot of my work has that feel to it. Yours just has a it's more in like a daylight aspect, and it's just a bit different. It's different. It's a different photographer, different perspective. So I would continue shooting this stuff.
And you think it's gonna be okay to have like, you see, most of them are like daylights. But what if I have like a shot at the night or rainy or stormy day? Like they're not in the same
Well, this is
time
night.
day. Oh, you know what I mean?
I mean, this is at night, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you do have a lot of daylight stuff, and then you have like, 2 or maybe these 3 shots look like they're at night. I don't know. How do you feel about that? Does it fit for you, Jeremy, or
Which shot specifically?
like the ones that are night? He's asking like the
Yeah.
ones that are
Mhm.
night, are they okay? Because there's a lot of day.
I would say so. I would say that the one that you were actually commenting on, I think is that one with the blue. If you go back, I just want to see the whole series again. I
It
kind
feels
of
out of
like
place.
the mystery of like not seeing anyone's face for the most part, and with that person you could pretty much see their identity, and with the whole like idea of the series and how it's illegal to photograph, and I like the idea of like not really giving away anyone's identity too much, like even the one with the guy against the building, the top right. Or I guess you can see his face a little bit. I don't know. Just something to think on for if you are gonna mint more. I personally am more drawn to more mysterious photos in action, like walking and yeah.
Cool. Thanks, man. But yeah, man, if you don't have any other questions, I think that's it. I think you know what to do. I don't think you should put out. I don't think you should have this ambitious of 111 of 111 minted. I think that can hurt it a little bit. And so maybe just go from shoot and get your best stuff, and then feel it out and see what you want to add to it.
Okay. I have one last question because you know the like the story on the or the idea behind that collection, and how it's like the photography, it can cause some trouble and everything, but I want to put it like to be clear what I want to say in the description. So since like English is not my native language, I don't know if what I did in the description actually like tells the story right, or I need to like edit it a bit, or
I mean, I'll read it real quick. So the streets will remember me, an ongoing series of photographs straight from the streets of Egypt. Walking around with a camera in the streets of Egypt with the risk of going to jail is not going to stop me from showing you the true life behind the history. Most of them I shoot while on the move with my camera hidden without being able to look at it. Without being able to look at what? Your camera? What do you mean?
yeah.
Okay, I have my time. I have to time my movement, anticipate when the subject will be in place, and shoot blindly to get it. Before, how are you making these great compositions if you're shooting blindly? I can't do that.
You learn a trick or two when you have no options.
Yeah. So yeah, before you look at the collection, take a look at this video showing you an example of what might happen. Okay, so I'm guessing the YouTube video is someone being arrested. About me,
Yeah,
I'm Omar.
because when I first released the collection, a lot of people came at me saying like you're making up stories to make like. So I wanted like no, this is actually happening. I'm not making up the story. This is the actual case that I'm talking about. I'm not making up something.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think you get the point across about what you're doing. But I'd like to know like a little bit more about like, why are you out there photographing them? Like, what is it about these subjects, like within solitude? Like, why are you drawn to that? Like, what does it mean about you? Like maybe go into a little bit more detail about like what it makes you feel like to be out there with the camera and actually doing this, because I don't really have that in the artist statement, and that's something that I'd like some connection there.
But the problem with the collection description is like the collection as I have it right now, it's the maximum characters.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little matter of fact though. Like your description is like a little matter of fact, and it would be nice if it was a little. I'm not saying it has to be poetry, but it would be nice if it was a little more poetic in a sense of like how it makes why are you going after these subjects, and how does it make you feel to be in the street doing this, and like going against the law of it to work, like why are you passionate about that? You know what I'm saying? So like you can probably like remove some of this, like unless like, so you're talking a lot about how it's illegal in like two full sentences here, right? So if you think that that's more important and that the collector is going to want to buy it more because of your risk of going to jail, I might argue that that's probably not the case as to why the collector is going to want to buy it. That I think, maybe you have a little something in there about it, but I don't think you need to take up two full-on sentences with that.
Yeah, okay.
And then, yeah, maybe you don't need, so this about me too, like I'm Omar, self-taught photographer, scuba instructor. Like, we don't need this. Like, we don't need this. We need to know like about Omar and why he's photographing this series and what it means to you. That's it. So, take away this, in my opinion, make it shorter about how you're not allowed to do this, and what it takes you have to hide your camera and stuff like that. But give us a little poetry on why you enjoy doing this and it makes you feel.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cool, Germ. So you're headed out?
Yeah, I gotta head out now, but thanks again, Mike, for having me do this AMA or critique along with you, and always awesome to see some photographers shooting all these different types of projects. It's inspiring to see.
Yeah, you should go through and check out, later on, like all these different series, cool forest series, trains. There's a lot of cool stuff we're looking at today. So anyway, you added a lot of value to this and brought up a lot of things that I didn't think of, and I'm always learning from you. So I really appreciate that, dude, and thanks for being here. And if you could do another one in the future, that would be really cool.
Absolutely.
I'll be
I
more
love doing that.
transparent about it so that because I kind of just hit you up. I was like, hey, you want to talk about art tomorrow? But didn't know that you had a lot to do, and this sometimes is like a 2 to 3 hour commitment. So appreciate you being here, bro.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah,
Thank you
of
for your
course.
time.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Jeremy.
See ya. Kicks and B wasn't here, right?
Nope.
So we'll just do those. I'll just pull those to the end, the ones that aren't here. Forbidden Forest. Alistar's probably here, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Alistar. Is his mic unmuted?
Yeah.
If you want to talk, you can talk. So, how you doing, man?
Yeah. Hello, Mike. Hello, Jeremy. Glad to meet
Hey.
you, my friend.
How's it going? Jeremy's gone. Actually, he had to head out. He's got a lot to do. He's a super busy guy, but thankfully he
Okay.
was able to help for the first half. So you're from Iran, and I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with you shooting this type of stuff because I'm familiar with your photos shooting comets and astro, and so this is different. Forbidden Forest. So I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit about um, your series, or what are you really intrigued by these forests? Like these forest, where are these forests?
Yeah, Mike. This is a forest on north of Iran called Rush Forest or Rush Jungle. This is a mysterious forest, and always in spring, autumn have mist on itself, and I have a trip on it in autumn and took this photo of this amazing jungle. And I dropped this collection 5 days ago, and today I received an amazing quote tweet from Daniel Cordan about this collection. And if you know, Daniel Cordan is the most famous photographer, landscape photographer on the world. And it was an insane happening for me and made me so happy about my collection, my friend.
That's amazing. It's always amazing when someone has such high credentials, or is award winning or something, and recognizes you for something that you did and takes admiration in your work, because we are always our own toughest critics, right? And so when someone with that level of admiration that you look up to can kind of put a seal on the fact that what you're doing is good and or great, then it feels really good. And so that's awesome, dude. I'm very happy for you. And I personally really, really love this collection.
Thank
And
you,
so,
Mike. Thank you a lot.
and so did you can see I favorited the ones that I favorited. And so did you have specific questions, or or Goon or Boss Mom, do you guys have questions from Alistar on there, or?
Yeah, there's no
No, Mike.
specific ones.
I I know your time is limited, so I wanna other artists can speak about themselves and their art. So I just thank you for this opportunity, my friend.
Okay, sure. So then I'll just kind of go quickly through it. I really love most of this, right? So, not every artist, feedback session is has to be constructive, right? And so there's just some artists that I think should be highlighted or talked about, and sometimes I have a little constructive stuff, but mostly with this series, I think you have a lot of beautiful stuff. I think some of the stuff is a little bit more standout to me than others. I really enjoyed the stuff with these with where you've built these color relationships that work really well together. This first shot, these colors are just so beautiful together. I really love this too. Your perspective on this. It seems like it was shot with a really, really wide angle. And I'm not the biggest on wide angle, but this is just absolutely beautiful how all the branches just kind of like come together like they're alive. I feel life. I feel like there's force moving towards the center of the universe. It's such a gorgeous photograph. I mean, if I was to buy one, it would probably be that one.
Mike, hey Mike, can
Yeah,
I tell you a thing about that shot you liked? A spearhead, I think.
it's Spearhead. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. All shots of this collection are single shot, but this one, because of this tree was so huge, um I shot 4 picture, and this is a panorama shot.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Wow. That's why it feels so wide. Yeah, I really love what happened there and how you did that. I would have never known. I just thought that it was dis-
Thank you,
distorted
man.
through a wide angle lens, but it's came out really beautiful. I also, that something about this really stands out to me. I mean, obviously it's the leading line, the shimmer in the water here, these just gorgeous, vibrant orange colors. This tree off to the right with the green leaves and just the foggy distance. This is definitely, up there with my top favorites. Um, let me check out your descriptions. Um, just make sure your descriptions look good. Yeah, to autumn collection artist. Yeah, and you've got and are these descriptions specific to each photograph, or is this just copied from the main
No,
description?
no, it's for all. It's the main
The main theme.
description
Yeah,
for all. Yeah, buddy.
cool. This one's cool. I mean, this one. It's not one of my favorites. I'm a little less intrigued by this one. I don't know exactly what the subject is in this. The subject is a little harder to point out, but you've got a lot of stunning images here, and like you said, I've got a lot of other artists to go through, but I wanted to put some eyes on that. This is really really beautiful work. So yeah, thanks for coming up.
Thank you, Mike.
Cool, man. Appreciate you. So chasing trains, and let's see, the artist is the artist here. Rakesh. Rakesh is here. I don't know, saw him earlier, so he can still be here. All right, cool. And then so Rakesh had some questions.
Hi, Mike. How are you doing?
Good, good. How you doing, Rakesh? So I'm looking at
Uh,
your train series, and so I know you wrote down some questions. I mean, I don't have them pulled up. I don't know if the community
Yeah,
manager
we have
should.
one question. It
Sure.
says, should he mint a new collection or wait for his collection to be sold out?
I know this collection is close to being sold out, right? So Rakesh, you sold what, 33 out of 40?
yeah, yes, Mike. So basically, I just no, just would like to see the last trains leave the station. So that's a suggestion I would like to take from you. Because I basically don't want to maintain a new collection. This is the only collection I have an open sea. Like since I started 9 months back. But I minted this maybe 5 months back, which got a good traction. So yeah, that's the thing I would like to know from you.
Yeah, so really interesting photographs. A lot of these. You've been chasing trains for how long? 7 years?
I don't, yeah, Mike, that's right.
Yeah, 7 years. So, um, it's always kind of a tough question to answer. It's like, should you focus on selling out this series before you start a new one? I think ideally that most people say yes. I don't think that I'm the best example to say yes because I have two series out and this without selling out one. So, but I try to put them at least on a different platform. Um, but you are close to sellout. I'll definitely say, there's some images in here that like really stand out to me. Like I love this shot. I'm sure it's sold, right? Like like when I look at a shot like this, this is so beautifully executed. And then you you have some other stuff like, I don't know, for instance, and like this shot is sold, but like it doesn't, it doesn't stand a chance to me compared to the other shot. It's just I feel like you have a lot of great stuff in here, and then you just kind of filled some gaps with some stuff that wasn't good as some of the other stuff. And I definitely think that you have a lot more great stuff than you do not. But so let's look at like what hasn't let's look at like what hasn't sold yet. So I honestly I think this is one of the least strong pieces in the collection, and this is just my personal opinion. I think this is just too easy for you. I just think that you're it's just too easy for you, right? The train's not moving, it's set, it's you didn't really take a daring composition on this one. There's not much happening around it. I don't know, it hasn't sold. So there's, and you put yourself in a bit of a predicament, right? Because most of them sold, and it's not like you could remove number 36 because I think like 37 sold. So you'd have to like make a different, since you've numbered everything and most of it sold, it's kind of like you're stuck with what you have. And so, while I definitely think there's, a lot of great, like I think this is really great and really well seen. And that's what I mean by like when I say like you're better than this, because like look at what you did here. Like you've created a world in this image. Like you create, like there's leading lines, there's geometry, there's dimension and depth, and there's there's the red train, and it's coming, and it's like and you do that a lot in a lot of your work. And then there's some stuff like this where it's like I don't see I don't see the same skill and composition in this photograph, and I feel like you've added filler photographs that you didn't need to add these filler photographs. You could have instead had a series that's, and it sucks to say it in hindsight because you can't go back. Instead of having a series of 40, had you had a series of 30 with all of the strongest stuff, then your series would have been, it'd have been sold out right now. Am I right? It'd probably have been sold out right now. And so, like this is beautiful. Like look at this shot. Like the color relationships, the red on the road, red with the yellows. You have snow coming down, an icy road. All of the lines are going in the same direction of the train, and it's just like you don't have that in something like this. It's like there's not much I could point out here that is really bringing me in. It's just the composition is, and it's also cropped in a way that is unorthodox compared to how you've cropped a lot of your other images. Another image I think was really great. I think this is another great shot. You've got the train. You can feel the train's movement. You have the background makes a lot of sense here. And so, yeah, it's you have a lot of beautiful stuff. Another one here, I love this shot too. I feel like sometimes less is more. You have beautiful sky, you have the smoke coming. And and so where do you go from here, right? Like it's like where do you go from here? Because you have how many that still have to sell? Only 7, right? So you have 7 that still need to sell, right? So maybe those 7 you need to drop down from 0.15, and maybe you drop those down to 0.1, or maybe you bite the bullet and you drop it down to 0.05 on some of the ones that just aren't nearly as strong, and you market it that way in a sense, and you say 7 images left. I lowered the price on these images to sell the series. I don't know how to say it in a way that doesn't sound like you're lowering it to sell out your series, but like the main problem right now is like you want to sell out the series, right? Because you want to move on and you want to post new work. I'm sure you're dying to post new work. We all are, and a lot of us jump the gun and stuff like that. And so, like this one hasn't sold yet, right? And this one I like. This one's really good. I think this is really, really good. Like you have so much dimension here, like lines and lines and lines, red trains coming through. You got a parking lot. You have foreground, middle ground, background. you have it all going on there. So, maybe you could drop this down to 0.1. Maybe the one, like this, maybe you drop this down to like 0.08 or something. You like severely drop it down to the point where you're okay with, getting some money for it and getting your series sold out. And maybe someone will buy it because they just want to be part of a series that's close to sell out. So, what was there any other? Was that the only question?
Yeah, Mike, that's the only question.
Yeah, because you can't delete them. That's the problem with dropping a huge series and numbering them, and then some of them selling in as some higher numbers selling, and then some middle numbers selling and lower numbers selling. I really like this one too, and this one hasn't sold either. So like, but you keep it, you have it at 0.2. Maybe drop this down to 0.15 or 0.1. Like what's more important to you, the extra $100, $200, $300, or a sold out series for you to be able to move on with your art and come out with a new series and kind of sort of learn from your mistakes, and maybe your next series is a drop of 10 of your absolute best work. What's more important to you? I gotta ask yourself that question, right?
Yeah, true, Mike. Thanks, Mike. Like, appreciate it really. That one of the first picture what you bought it, right? That picture, like, so that one of the most hardworking shots, in the whole collection. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it's the
As you
best.
can
It's
see,
the best. The best.
yeah, you have an eye for that. Like, you can see sun between two bridges, right? That comes only twice in a year. So I had to plan, and the sun stays on the horizon only, right, like that, maybe just for a couple of minutes. So I was just praying for the train and boat. So yeah, that was like, I won't say right time, right place, but kind of everything, kind of shot that planning comes to a perfect execution. So that sort of shot this is. So
Yeah,
glad you
this
talk about that. Yeah.
this shows your potential, right? I mean, you have a boat in the center of the frame. You have a bridge on the left side. It's a leading line directly into the sun. You have another bridge on what, I don't know if the two bridges, rather you have the bridge. You have the train bridge on the right side. It's another leading line directly into the sun. The color of the train is the same color as the sun. You have a beautiful sunset sky. The boat is the same color as the bridge. Like when you can create an image like this and you can see like this, then you know you look at some of the other images in the series. Like I hate to keep going back to this one, but it's like that's not the same photographer to me. And you use that as a filler to fill in to make 40 items. That's the way I see it, at least. And so, yeah, I mean, we've all put ourselves in some spot like this and some, but you got to think outside the box now at this point. Um, there's a few things you could do. You could gift images to people, right? Maybe there's somebody you like in the community that you can gift one of the shots to. Maybe you could run a contest, and you can in that contest, let's see which one didn't sell. So this is a really nice one. Maybe you can run a contest on your Twitter. And what that'll do is it'll bring a ton of engagement to your Twitter. You show people, this is the winning, this is the photograph you win at the end. Now you're getting yourself closer to a sellout series. And if you have to gift something to do that, if you have to run a contest to do that, if you have to lower your prices to do that, you have to think outside of the box to get the series sold out. Because clearly you're an amazing photographer and you know what you're doing. You just filled up too much stuff, and it's the first series that you dropped, and it's okay to make mistakes. But I think I gave you a lot of options there, and I think you're going to sell out if you use those options.
Sure, Mike, I appreciate it. So yeah, funny thing is, like, I was discussing with my collectors initially. Some of the pictures you pointed, right? That the reason I filled is because I wanted to. Some of the pictures were taken in my initial days of photography, like way back in 2014 or 2013. The reason I included is to just give the diversify in terms of just don't want to make about finds from my place, just to give from the Europe. I initially wanted to replace it, but a couple of collectors said the one you pointed right, even that platform shot. Comparing to that, yeah, I kind of agree. But I don't know, like the people who likes from from that, let's say the Swiss train, they might like it. So they said. So I kind of didn't do. But yeah, for the next point. So since many trains were sold out, do you suggest like instead of decreasing the price, maybe other collectors who I don't know how they will look into this, do you suggest change replace with some other pictures? So in OpenSea we can
Yeah,
do
so
it
you
right.
could delete it. Yeah, I was. It's funny you said that. I was just going to say that.
Yes.
So you could delete number 19, and then you could
Mhm.
just add. You have more train shots. Add something that's closer to your skill level, because this is way too easy for you to take this. So remove this and add a new one in. Name it Chasing Trains 19, and there you go. So you have options to gift. You have options to delete. You have options um, to run a contest. You have multiple options here to get your series sold out. You only have to get rid of 7, and you're done. Your series is sold out. Congrats on selling that many.
Oh, thanks, Mike. I'll consider to swapping those images, replacing. And yeah, coming back to, I agree with that. I've done actually one giveaway. One train was giveaway, so that actually got a lot of engagement. So I agree with you on that. So giveaways is a great way to get more eyes on our collection as well.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I guess we can close on that because you have a bunch of different options that you can do there.
Yeah, Mike. Thanks once again. I appreciate it. And so great inspiration from other artists. Like I really liked previous collections like Wild Portraits and Moon One. There's no false note in those works, so too good. So yeah, great enjoying the session. Thanks a lot, Mike. I appreciate the
Yeah, keep it
doing
up. Looking
taking your
looking
time with
forward
me.
to your looking forward to see what you do in your next series. Thanks a lot, Rakesh.
So, thanks.
Cool. Is Benjamin here?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, sweet. So Benjamin has Wonderland First National Park, and his collection of stuff from Yellowstone. This guy's. I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but I remember reviewing this in the past, and this is dedicated to his dad and grandpa who loved the park. And so, what was his specific questions on there? I know he had a question about possibly. I think he was the one who had a question about banding in a project or something like that, and I'd really love to talk about that. Can you pull up the questions for me, guys?
Yeah, I got him here.
You're good to go again.
Let me see. Oh, is there ever a point where you should abandon the project was one of his questions.
Okay. Well, there's definitely a cut and clear answer to that. You can't abandon it if 2 people already bought, right? I mean, if you abandon your project when 2 people bought from you, then that's sort of. I mean, you have to take it up. You'd have to take it up with them. If you wanted to abandon a project and I had bought from it, then I would probably want you to send me ETH to my wallet address that of what I've spent on it. But that's a whole nother story. So I mean, I wouldn't abandon a project, and I don't think that you need to abandon a project unless you're willing to give up on being a community member in the space and adding value and showcasing your work and showcasing others and getting your work in the eyes of collectors and stuff. So, what was the other questions there?
Is it ever a good idea to change prices specifically to lower them?
Sure. I mean, I would reach out to the collectors that you've reached out to already, and you have to reach out to them in a way that's like, listen, my project isn't moving. I know you bought at the original floor price of 0.15, and I'm thinking of lowering the prices to 0.1 to work towards getting the collection sold out, and they might be interested in that because it looks better for them if you have more sold pieces than you're not selling any pieces. So, but I mean, at the same time, is it the price, or is it the fact that it's not in the eyes of enough people? If we if we take a look through some of it, there's not many favorites on the images, so I usually that's like a little bit of an indication to me that there's not that many people have seen the series. I I personally am more drawn to your vertical shots for the most part, and it seems like those are the ones that sold. So this one sold here, this one sold, this one sold, this one sold. So you have one sold, two, three, and no, it doesn't. I don't know if this one. Yeah, that one sold too. So four. I don't know why it says three owners. I guess three owners, but the same owner has two of them. So, yeah. So, I mean, specifically, if these are the ones that's selling these vertical shots, and like I said, I'm actually more drawn. If you look, I've favorited. I really love this shot. Very dramatic, beautiful waterfall shot. I love the tonality in it. I like the shot here. It has this this isolated sort of deserted land vibe. You have what's the other thing here? This one here that was really interesting. I love the colors here. I love how abstract it is and pastel. I think it's another beautiful shot. For some reason, I think that you're composing and seeing better in your vertical shots. So, rather than abandoning a project, I would probably minimize the project and make it smaller. Yeah. So for instance, this shot here, I don't think this is a strong shot within your series or actually even makes sense to your series at all. The animals are really just they're a bit too far away from me. I don't see their facial expressions. One's hidden behind something. It's just real all green grass. I'd personally remove that one. Then you have another one that's a moose here that I don't think they're as strong as your vertical landscapes. I don't. So would I abandon the project? Absolutely not. And then there's these panoramas in here that I just don't think fit. And I also think that it kind of lacks clarity and quality that that some of your other landscapes have. So yeah, maybe stick to an all vertical series since the verticals are the only ones that sold, and remove some of these these odd crops that you've made, even though it's interesting, it's an odd crop, and I think your series will look more cohesive, and I think that then you can start remarketing it that way. What do you think about some of that feedback, Ben?
No, yeah, it's given me a lot to think about, especially with making sure to keep things kind of consistent. I do like the big panoramas, but maybe they'd be better off in a separate collection of panoramas.
Yeah, that's like a part two, or maybe you have it you have panorama editions by Ben, and you do this is something I did recently with editions, where I've done 30 editions of, you could do 30 editions of each panorama at 0.03, and then when 30 sells out, that's about almost $3,000, and you have a wider collector base because you've allowed people that don't have as much capital to buy a piece from you, and it works really well. There's a lot of avenues that you can go, but clearly here it seems like the vertical pieces are really selling, and there's some really nice ones that are left here that haven't sold. This one's good too. I'd favorite that. I would just kind of keep all these vertical shots. I mean, this one I don't know. I'm not as drawn to this one. It's interesting. Maybe maybe needs a little bit more punch to it. Maybe there's the dehaze button. There's clarity. I don't know. Maybe you can pump the saturation in the sky a little bit. I don't know. I think it needs a little bit more to it. But
yeah, I think when I made this back when it was kind of popular to do larger collections like 20, 25, 30, 35, I was trying to find some filler pieces, and so I think it'd be a good idea to get rid of some of the ones that I kind of used as more of a filler piece, so and just
Exactly.
keep
And
the
so,
strong images.
yeah, and so you probably just heard the last critique of chasing trains, and it's why I always tell people, we were talking a lot about filler pieces and like what's your best stuff, and it's like that we don't have to have, we don't have to have all these filler pieces, and sometimes it's best to just have a collection of like 10 and sell it out, and then do a part 2 or something like that. And so I would definitely not abandon your project. You're a great photographer. I would stick to the vertical stuff and remarket it in that way. So pick the vertical ones you want, then create like a nice grid. What do I use? I use this app
I
called
like the like Adobe one.
yeah, I use PixArt, or you can use Canva. Make it cool, like a cool new one with all vertical shots, and just remarket, remarket yourself and put new eyes on it again. And I think that you'd be good. I think that's all you need.
Yeah, cool. I like that idea a lot, actually. And then maybe bring back some pieces one day for different purposes, or like airdrops is another thing that I kind of thought would be nice. But yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
for
I
sure.
appreciate all the feedback.
Yeah, no problem, man. Appreciate it. We're coming up on almost 2 hours here, so I'm try to get through some of these. If at any time you have to go, any of the community members or whatever, let me know. If we have to end short, then we have to end short. So I didn't know that it was going to take this long to get through this many.
You're good,
But
Mike.
there's a lot of people here, and they're asking a lot of questions, and they're speaking as much as I am. So it's a lot. So do we have John 45? Is he in chat?
He
No,
was,
I'll
but
put it.
I had to leave.
Okay, fine. So then he'll be more towards the end. That's fine. Where's this? Here. So, and then, so what about Leo Para? Leo
Yeah, he's here.
Piera? Okay, cool, awesome. So how you doing, Leo? You here on mic? Kings and Queens of Europe. And I think Leo had some questions. If you guys have that pulled up.
Yeah.
Hi, Mike. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Leo, how you doing?
Well, all great here. And so, first of all, thank you for doing this. It's amazing. And thank you for your time and all the super valuable advices that you're giving to us. Really, it means the world. And well, okay, so coming to my collection, I have one big question, and it's pretty specific. I think, well, I minted this collection back in August, okay? And as someone else was saying, back in days, let's say, it was, let's say, more common to mint these bigger collections, okay? So in fact, it's 40 items. But now, of course, it was my very beginning in the NFT world. And I just, I threw myself on OpenSea and I just created a collection about the place that, well, arguably I love the most, which is the Alps. I live in Italy, so I have pretty much an easy access to all the Alpine range. And I thought to create this collection about, all from the Dolomites to the French Alps. So pretty much covering all the Alpine range. But well, looking back, I think now that probably the subject is a little bit too wide, maybe. And I don't know, I feel that probably a few shots are standing out more than others. And
Lost you. I lost you a little bit there. Can you hear me? Well, when he comes back, I definitely agree with the last part that you said. I think that there are some shots that are standing out over others. I mean, if you look at these two here that I have favorited up at the top here, like absolutely gorgeous images. Brave New World. It looks like spider webs that have this mountains attached. So wild. I'd love to have that in my collection. Looks like someone bought that. Can you guys hear? Can everybody hear me though?
Yeah, and I have the question here if you want me to read it.
Yeah, sure, please.
It was I think I want to reduce the number of images in the collection. However, some pieces the pieces are numbered and some of them have already been collected. How do you suggest doing this?
Yeah, so that's that's difficult. So it depends on which ones are sold and what numbers they are. So so a lot of those suggestions were actually given in with the last with chasing trains, right? So you could you could lower price, you could do contests, you could offer giveaway for the ones that you can't delete because or you can replace. That's another thing you can replace. So let's say, for instance, let's see. Okay, so for me, for instance, 29. This isn't as strong, in my opinion, compared to a lot of the other stuff. It's kind of monotone. There's not a lot of colors going on. I don't really know clearly what like the main subject is. Like maybe it's this mountain range over here, whatever. So maybe like this one here, for instance, 29 Lissa. Maybe that can be replaced by like something more compelling, like one of these other landscape shots that he has, like something like this, or um, so yeah, there's a few similar ones too. Like you have this just Children of the Sun, this yellow image here, and then you have three like that, right? And I think like this one here is the strongest of the three because I just really love how these yellow flowers kind of point like with an arrow into this mountain range, and this has like this arrow pointing towards the sky and clouds. This is really greatly composed. So this is one of actually my favorite images in the series, and only got one favorite on it. No one's bought it. And I absolutely love this image. It's absolutely beautiful. Stunning foreground, midground, background, star sky. Expensive compared to the rest, though. 0.4 when you have images in the series that are 0.2. So you're asking double for that one. So I don't know if that's a wide range there, or why, or maybe that's the reason why that one hasn't sold. When I think it's definitely like one of the best. There's some other, I think this is really really good too. I think this is also one of the best. So once again, I think maybe I'm biased, but I think a lot of the horizontals in this series are the strongest. Really enjoy this one too. The Riot, incredible, like just incredible sharp lines. Really makes me want to go to the Alps and go to Italy. The Milky Way, that shot's phenomenal. I mean, I can understand why it's 0.3. And yeah, so 40 items with only 6 owners. So we have a lot of shots here that haven't sold. So it could be a few different things, right? And for the most part with this, it's usually like just not getting your work in the eyes of enough collectors. This shot here for me, it's I feel like it could be really really great, but there's just it feels really flat and foggy, and I think you need to use the dehaze filter in Lightroom to remove a lot of like this haze that I feel is like for me at least unwanted haze, and it doesn't match the rest of the series clarity. And were there some other questions on there?
Oh no, thank you. Can you hear me now?
I could hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was the big one, honestly. It's just, it's a big collection, and I know that there are a lot of shots, and some of them are probably, I don't know, better than others, or at least are standing out better than others. And that's a mistake that I've done back in the days when I minted it. And well, now my main problem is that I can't cut it out because a few pieces have been collected. But you gave me a great idea. Maybe replacing a few of the weak pieces, maybe, and creating a more cohesive overall collection.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can do that. The ones that you can delete, I'm sure there's some that you can delete that don't fall within the range of the numbers, unless somebody bought the first one in the collection and the last one in the collection, then that's a hard one, right? But there could be some that you can delete, but like I think replace is the best option. Somebody's just like, if you look at an image like this and like just, how epic this photograph is, um, if OpenSea wants to work. Hmm. Yeah, like this sweet sound of sunshine. I don't know if it's my internet or OpenSea, but I'm gonna guess that's not the shot. Yeah. This shot I was trying to pull up, right? How epic this photograph is, and how there's just like, oh my gosh, it's one of the more epic landscapes I've seen, since I've been in the Web3 NFT space. I think it's really that good. And you have
Thank
one
you.
favorite, and there's only
Thank
one
you.
favorite. There's only one favorite. I'm the only one that favored it. That means that there's not enough eyes on the project, right? But like if you compare that with like the one that I pointed out, like this one, that like just kind of doesn't have a clear subject. It's kind of really busy. It's kind of monotone. There's not that many, like even if this was in black and white, it would still be too busy. Yeah, there's no comparison between that shot and the last one. And I think that it's just better to have a smaller series with just more epic work. Like look at like this, this Brave New World and the one next to it. Yeah, like and just have a smaller series with a lot more epic work. And it's like, yeah, sometimes we can't go back on these mistakes because people collected and we've made a certain number for it, but that should, kind of put a jump on you to want to like you live in this area. So get out in the Alps and make more epic photographs and replace those ones. You know, replace those ones and work on your community building, your relationships with people in the community, create a nice grid of the best images and pin that as your tweet, your main Twitter post. Get that information like out there like that. Get out and shoot. Like it's easy for us to now sit at home and like try to sell all of like the work, the passion that we put into our artwork and not get out there and shoot. But like lately I'm like shooting more than ever, even though I'm like on here a lot of my day. I'm trying to, also stay within shooting my, so if you do that, you'll be able to replace these, quicker than you think. And, patience is a virtue, right? So, it's not something that I have patience, but I'm working on it. And so, be patient, over time and get these replaced. I think you can do it. I think you're an absolutely amazing landscape photographer. I hope to get to the Alps and be able to take pictures like this eventually. I will. And yeah, keep doing what you're doing. But if there wasn't any other questions, that's all I have. There's a place you could, I said, you could replace, you could lower price, you can do a giveaway, you can gift, you can do a contest. There's a bunch of things you can do.
All right. I really appreciated all the suggestions, and I'll keep trying to push it and try to show it maybe, and I'll hopefully find someone that connects with it. And of course, in the meantime, I'll go out and shoot. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. I mean, you're also, not to say that your work is not worth these prices, but you're also competing with a lot of people right now that just kind of like lowered their price to like 0.1, and between 0.1 and 0.2 that are like, and there's so many landscape photographers out there that are like doing a lot of beautiful things too. And like, some collectors are just buying at that price level right now, and I guess it's a patience thing to just sit and wait, but it's something I've had to deal with too. So.
All right. So I'll also think about lowering a little bit the prices, maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
That's something. Yeah.
don't lower the prices on the most epic ones, but lower the prices on the ones that you feel, aren't standing out to the ones that are just too good, because there's ones that show your true potential, and there's the ones that are like, oh, let me fill this one in because I want a huge collection because that's what's in right now.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Cool, man. So if you don't have anything else, we'll go to the next artist. I appreciate you up here, Leo.
No, thank you. Really, I super appreciate it, and thank you for the time that you give us. Really, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, man.
Hey, Mike, Kixon B is back. If you want to go with him.
Yeah, let's do that. And Kixon B. Okay, cool. Yeah, we took put that over here. All right, cool. Hey, Kixon. Nice to see you back. Sorry about the wait. Yeah, I can hear you.
Thank you,
So,
Mike.
oh, you're very welcome. So looking at your collection, it says collection is about the beginning phase of my photography journey, 2017 to 2020. So it's named the beginning journey because I took a year off from photography for about a year. There's a lot of mental health issues and lack of clarity about a love for photography. Clarity about. So you had to fix that there because it's a little misread. But I love photography or not, and am I able to grow and sustain here? Now, after a year away from social media and photography, I am pursuing photography full time with new camera gear, new perspective, and a new and full energy and dedication. And I could totally relate to those down times of mental health issues and anxiety and depression and self-defeation and stuff like that. And getting back out there and for me, it's getting back out there and going to the gym and exercising and eating right, or getting back out there with my camera and doing the passions and stuff like that. The things that I know I love and make me feel alive is really important. So I'm glad that you got back out there. So
Thank you.
yeah. So did he have some specific questions for the collection? If not, I'll kind of just go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, there are sorts which I don't like, and I have some mobile. I started with a mobile photography, so there are some sorts which I like, but they are low quality. So can I include them and replace some of these?
Sorry, can you go say again once with that question?
Yeah, actually, I started with mobile, my photography journey with mobile, so I have some shots which I like about which are shot from mobile. So can I, but they are a little bit of low quality. So can I replace these with them?
So have you sold anything? So you haven't sold anything in your
No.
collection, so you can replace anything you want, right? So you can replace anything you want. I think I remember one of your questions was about like, can I add more like golden hour shots? And there's a lot of golden
Yeah.
hour shots already. So
Yes,
I
I
mean,
have some few golden hour shots which are more likely good than some shots here, so I wanted to change them as well.
yeah, sure. I mean, so just looking at this collection, there's a couple of photos that I would replace that don't make sense in the collection. And not to say I really like this photograph, but it doesn't make any sense in this like nature collection, right? So, and
Yeah.
I don't know that, maybe this one fits. It fits. It definitely fits more than the other one. And so you have a couple here that are like kind of feel like doubles too, like these two shots. Um, so number 3 and number 9. So like
Okay.
I lean towards number 3 because it has more dimension. You have this green grass foreground. You have this beautiful mountain with the beautiful arch and the snow, and you have clouds that are just coming under it, and it separates the arch. And if you compare that to, like, say, this one, this is like, so let's say that that image was like 3 images. This image is like 1 image. So like this is just part of that image. This is
Okay.
a full image. Like, to me, this is more advanced, right? So like I would replace this one. right?
Yeah,
And
and
I would,
can
yeah,
can I add some architecture photos like stuvas and monuments because I have some of them which I like more than these.
monuments and stuff. Okay, so I mean, your collection name is the beginning journey. So you're when you make a name like that, it's sort of like you're giving yourself this ability to put whatever you want in there, and
Okay.
that's but that's not necessarily a good thing because if you start adding monuments and stuff now, it can get a little confusing, right? Like what's the series
Yes.
like what's the series about, right? It's like for right now it feels like it's about, peace and, kind of like peace, nature, solitude, earth. Obviously without this shot, without these streaks of lines going down the street, that's a whole different energy. Like that
Yes.
energy doesn't match this energy. It just doesn't match the energy. It doesn't fit. Fogged up world, I like it. I think it's really beautiful, you know. And then you have this
That's my
this
favorite one too.
yeah, and magical morning is beautiful too. It's similar to fogged up world. It's different enough though. It's different enough because it's a completely different mood. I mean, just because they both have boats, I'm not going to tell you to take one out. Um, but I definitely would take this one out. You look at this one here. Um, Yeah, I don't. Yeah, this is this. I would take the shot out for sure. I just don't. You've already showed that you have a skill level that's just better than this. This image is also too blue. Like your color temperature is not correct on this image. So like
Okay.
if you look at the green trees, they have a blue hint to them. There's no contrast. Like there's no shadows. It feels like very flat, and the subject is like hidden. It's like, if that's the subject, like I kind of want to see more of it. Like I kind of want to see more of the architecture. The sky is kind of blah. I'd get rid of this one. I'd probably write this down. I'd give her number 4. I'll give her number 9. I really love the atmosphere in this one. This is really interesting. This Into the Fog. Very cool. I love the stairwell here. Um, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if the composition can be like if it can be cropped like down a little bit like this. Like maybe like I don't know. This is the crop like this and this. I don't know if that makes it better or not. But I do like this shot. I think that could stay. Like
Okay.
yeah. There's something about this hidden sun shot that I really like compared to this. I mean, I don't know. I like them both. They're different. You're looking to add more golden hour shots, though. So, I mean, I would just, I'd be careful as to like what you add and try to keep a feeling. Try to keep a certain feeling in your work. Unless you're looking for a place to drop just one of ones that you think are your best work. But even when you do that, you kind of want to have some cohesion. You want to feel the viewer is going to want to feel some emotion that's similar throughout the images. Does it make sense?
Yes, yes.
Sure. So what was the other question?
Actually, only these are the questions I want to especially ask. And actually, the overall issue collection and what should I improve? That's the question. Except the images.
Yeah, I mean, I think I favorited some of the ones that I think are the best ones. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Um, I wasn't, I'm not too crazy about this shot. I'm not, I'm not. It's once again, I think I don't know. It feels like you have a lot of loss of detail in these areas. Like I don't know why you're losing detail. If it's just a foggy or misty day, I mean, you could use dehaze and maybe it'll help this. Or I don't know if you're shooting at the right aperture, but it looks out of focus. So it feels out of
Okay.
focus. Yeah, so that feels out of focus to me. And some of the other ones are strong. So I would definitely fill in some of the ones that with something different that you could find that you think's more strong.
Okay, I will do that.
For sure. So it says here, like, what these are the best images that resonate with me in my photography style, with concluding weather conditions and things I love to shoot, like sunrise, sunset, long exposures, reflections. See, there's just too much going on here, right? So like, there's too many things that you're interested in all those things, and that's fine. Like, I'm interested in all those things too, but I'm not going to put all of those things into the same series. And I think that's where you need help. And I think that, you probably have a collection of stuff and an Instagram that has a lot of stuff that can replace a lot of this to make it better. So I would
Okay.
just try to look and see some of those things to replace. And then
Actually, I don't have pictures in Instagram because I just started social media because deleted furthermore. Can I DM in few days with some sorts I want to replace?
sure, DM me. Sometimes it takes me a little while to get back, but if I remembered your name, then I usually
Okay,
get
no
back.
problem.
And show me some options, and
Okay,
I'll
thank
tell
you
you the
for
ones that I think are the best. All right?
okay. Thank you for your
Cool.
time, Mike.
Yeah, thank you so much. Is Sub here? Subodh Shetty?
Yep.
Awesome. How you doing, Sub? Or can I call you Subodh? Is that how you say it?
Hi, Mike.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. This is my first time on Discord on this channel. I was wondering how to unmute myself.
Oh, okay, cool. You got it. Sounds good now. So,
And
Portraits of
I
Humanity.
almost I almost had a heart attack because I thought this session was tomorrow. Because your tomorrow is our today. Because of the time zone. I really get confused.
Yeah, I mean, this one came up quick, this AMA. I just kind of gave like a 2-day notice just because I'm going away the day after tomorrow to the
Oh,
Amazon for like 3 weeks. I'm going to be photographing a lot of stuff that I'm not familiar with, so that should be good. But
wow,
I
lucky.
got it but I got international service, so I'll still be connected and helping and on Twitter and all that stuff. So
You deserve a break, Mike. You deserve a break.
right? My girlfriend will agree. So, so cool. So portrait of humanity. So, um, I don't know if you had specific questions, but I mean, if you don't, then we could just talk about the work. Did you have pulled up specific questions on these or no?
Mike, yes, I have a few questions, but before that, I think Boss Mom can take over.
Well, I just have them pulled up already, but if you want to ask them yourself, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, there are few questions. Like I'm not, I've kept the collection as tight as possible, but I'm doubtful of two pictures. If you could add some information.
I mean, don't even tell me what pictures they are because let's just find out if I'm doubtful about them first.
Oh, please, that would be great.
Okay. So first of all, really beautiful portraits. Like I must say, I think
Thank you.
everything in the collection is excellent. Now,
Thank you so much.
after that said, this is a documentary photograph. I mean, this is one of my favorite photographs in the collection, but this is documentary style. Like this is not. I wouldn't exactly call that portraiture. And this one that's sold here, it's already sold, but I also don't feel that it fits in the same collection. But it's a phenomenal photograph and I understand why it's sold. So, but looking at take out those two. Well, we can't take out them. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying if we took out those two and we just look at these here, there's something a lot more cohesive about these, obviously, because they're actual, they're traditional portraits, right? You have eye contact, even if you have a little bit of side contact. I mean, I really, really love this one. I absolutely love that. I think that's probably my favorite.
Oh my God. Okay.
Why was
Thank
that
you
one
so
that was that one that you
yeah.
that was one that you didn't know whether or not you liked?
Yes.
Really? Oh,
Because it
well.
was looking in the sideways. That's why I was wondering.
No, I think it's fine. I like that she's looking out to the side. I love it. I love the story of her face, the wrinkles, the she feels comfortable in the shoot with you. I don't know what she's looking at. That's fine with me. Look at her hair, the details in the hair, the colors, the relationships of the colors, the grays that are coming down, these gray hairs. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful clarity. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic shot. Um, and then you have another shot that's like similar in composition, and
I just
and
added to make it 2.
yeah, and so I'm guessing that these were the two pictures that you were concerned about.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think this shot is good too. I don't think it's as good as the other one. There's something a little bit about this shot that feels like a little more posed and a little less genuine or a little less authentic than the last one. I don't know what it is, and maybe it's in her eyes, maybe it's in her expression. I definitely love the wardrobe, and I definitely love the lighting. I love how the left side of her face is fully lit, and you sort of have more of a mysterious side on the right. I think it's. I don't. I wouldn't tell you to get rid of it. I still think it's a great shot. For the
The other two
children,
pictures which you,
yeah,
the other two pictures which you rightly mentioned, the one with candle and the smoke, actually it was
yeah.
not in my list. But one of my friends, he said there has to be some X factor, like something which can really drag people in when you post a poster, and that's the reason I had them, and I was lucky one of them sold also.
Yeah, I mean they're really great, but if they feel more like they feel a little bit more like I don't know reportage, as I say it, or documentary, um,
Yeah,
than portraiture. So I mean, like portraiture, and you look at portraiture as I guess portraiture is this, but these are in the most truest sense are more portraiture to me. This is a beautiful shot. It actually reminds me of the Afghan girl from National Geographic, Steve McCurry. Has
yes,
that similar feeling. I don't mean to compare it to that. It's hard not to though. It's really beautiful. I love the red in her cheeks. I love the I love her eyes on you. I feel like it's I feel like you made her feel very comfortable, and she's showing you who she really is. And I think that's a hard thing to do in portraiture and get people comfortable with you. Another shot, really beautiful. I don't necessarily like her wardrobe when it compares to most of the other wardrobe in the set. It seems the wardrobe seems a little bit off. It seems I don't know. It seems like a little more traditional. I still love the shot. I still think it's really nice. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy about the pink and the hair with the red hat. I mean, I don't think the color relationships in this shot are quite as good as the color relationships in some of the other shots. Specifically this, for instance. I mean, all of these colors are super complementary and beautiful. Definitely would not get rid of that. Um, Beautiful portrait, very vulnerable. Looks like the kid got a gash in his face or something. He's cut,
yeah.
but it looks really really vulnerable, and he feels comfortable around with you though too. To be in such a vulnerable state of how he has his hands crossed, and it seems as though maybe his mother is behind him holding him. Actually, maybe one hand his mother's and one his father's. It looks like one of them has painted nails and the other one doesn't. But it's a beautiful shot. So
That's a beautiful
definitely.
interpretation. That's a beautiful interpretation you're doing. I really like that.
Oh, thank you. Um, this little girl, beautiful, absolutely beautiful photograph. They all have this red cheeks. Why is that?
It is because of the Himalayan cold wind. It's very dry. It doesn't have any
Wow.
moisture in it. Yeah, they rub through their skin and make it red.
It does something really to make the photo quite beautiful, though, because it adds
Yeah, like a makeup.
it's like a makeup, but it's also adds like some question to it because I'm not familiar with that climate, so I don't know, and it's kind of like it adds question. But her eyes, she has these huge eyes. She's absolutely beautiful, and the way she's staring into you is like into your soul. It's just amazing,
Yeah,
absolutely beautiful shot, and colors work here because the color of her cheeks are the same as the color of her dress. That's a phenomenal photograph.
true.
Another one.
This is actually their costume. They are known as the Aryans. They live in
Yeah.
a small village, and it's a heritage. And their costume is always like that. Like when whatever they are wearing, it's the actual stuff.
They all have the red cheeks. They're all
Yeah,
so
all of them.
beautiful. They're all so beautiful, though. Their eyes are so beautiful. White,
Yeah.
beautiful eye, like really, really beautiful. But the people are fantastic. So,
Yeah, all this full set, Mike, just to add, all these people are from one single place in India. It's a Himalayan village called Ladakh. So
mhm.
they're spread over in that area. They're not like next to each other, but they're all connected to each other. And I know each one of these people, like that's why I wrote in my description that 25% of the proceeds will go back to them, because I know each one of them personally. I am in touch with them through WhatsApp and etc. I contact their parents every few months. So that's the kind of connection I have with these people. I consider them like my babies, literally, most of them.
Yeah, amazing. Now, so like this photograph here, like, as a collector, like, I'd buy that photograph. It's beautiful, but like, I wouldn't buy it because it's in this collection. And like, I mean, I think somebody would buy it if it was on Foundation as a one of one. I think someone would buy it if it was in a collection that was a storytelling collection and it wasn't like a head-on portraiture collection. Um, so, I
Can I
get what
add
you're.
one more thing, Mike?
Yeah. What's
This
that?
particular picture which you're talking about, the candlelight with the three people, it's something I do in every place. Like every place has a culture. This is the Buddhist culture, so I have the Buddhist people holding the candles. In another place like Varanasi, where there are Hindu culture, I make Hindus hold this candle. In every place I go, every tribe I meet, I make these pictures like a foundation picture for the place. For instance, this is a Ladakh set, and these guys are like my Ladakh foundation. Next when I add Varanasi, there will be another set of three kids doing the same thing. So that was my basic idea behind it, to keep a consistent candlelight going through each set. That was the one of the plans. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a beautiful photograph, and this one's so beautiful too. So, but I don't have it. If you don't have any other questions, I don't have any other feedback. I mean, obviously, you have a connection with human beings. That's really something else. You can capture really beautiful portraits. I think the collection will do really well. I don't think there's any flies on the collection. And yeah, like I said, the last two shots, they don't really fit for me, but one of them sold, so that is what it is.
Yeah.
So maybe you keep them both. I don't know. But
Got
that's
you. Got you. I
yeah, but
really
that's my
appreciate the feedback.
yeah that's my take on it. So did you have
And
anything
Mike,
else?
just about the pricing, is it right? Like 0.2 is okay, right?
Yeah. For this
Okay.
quality work,
Okay.
I think 0.2 is, but oh wow, that one sold for 0.5. Wow, nice.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, no,
one of them was 0.5.
yeah, no, I think 0.2. Yeah, for sure. I think this is a good price. Because is this will this be your first collection that you'll sell out if you sell it?
Yeah, actually, I'm planning to mint one more on Sloika, because they have given me the invitation since long. I have been ignoring it, but I think I'll be putting a complete different set, like a wildlife set on Sloika. I definitely want to DM you if you give me the permission to ask your feedback on the collection.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
And
Thank
if I
you.
could interject,
Sure.
if I could interject just a little bit, this is Emma, our nifty meta girl, and the collection is definitely beautiful. One part of advice would just be to make sure that in your descriptions you include your name and the edition size and the collection size, especially adding your name to the description, because even when you're using it as the link there at the top of the description, that's actually tied to the collection and it can change over time. So you want to have your name actually listed in the description for your piece.
Well
Yeah,
noted. I was hearing Mike say that. I was wondering in my head that I need to sit and do that tonight. I'll definitely do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mentioned that on a couple of the last collections. I didn't click to see on this one, and over time, I think everyone will will get it and
Yeah,
have it. But
it
yeah,
already got into my mind as you were reviewing others. It was already fed in my mind. Thank you so much, MetaGirl.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
because Alpha was looking at buying a piece and noticed that the name wasn't there, and that is really important when he's collecting. So there's definitely collectors watching for that detail to
I'm
be.
doing it right now. I'm jumping on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. So, Sites of Alberta, and that's Steve, right? Is Steve here?
Yep.
What's going on, Steve? Sorry, you had to wait till the end. Jeez. 2 collections left. So, if you know, Boss Mom or Goon, do you have any of the questions pulled up that are specific to this collection?
Yeah, so it looks like he's actually asked 3 of them. And the first one is which pieces are the strongest? The second is which can be eliminated, and number 3 are there any tips on marketing this collection or marketing NFT collections in general?
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, cool. So, just get 20 images. So, well, right here it says 21 items. So maybe that has to be updated. Maybe added one. I have it listed from the oldest to the newest. So, I would say the first thing that I noticed, like right off the bat, is that you have some images that are lack cohesiveness in an area of editing. So if I look at, say, an image like, let's say this here, it has a very natural feel to the color grading and the tonality. And then if I jump to like this image here, um, this feels just like very over edited to me. Now, I mean, I think you could get away with the greens and the yellows, but when we're looking at like the blues here, it just feels just like really, really oversaturated to me. And so, there are some people that like oversaturated images or just highly saturated images, and that's fine. But it doesn't, when I see it tied into like a collection, it throws off the collection for me a bit. And I kind of feel the same about like, looking at something like this, which is, has a very natural and beautiful look to me. And then, looking over here, and obviously these are different times of day, and I understand that the lighting is different. But there's clearly some editing that you've done here that's punched a lot heavier than the other one. Because if we look at this kayak over here, this red kayak or orange or pink or whatever it is, it's so saturated that it's like almost saturated to the point where it doesn't even have detail. And so I would say that some of the images are just not cohesive in that regard, that your editing style is not similar throughout. Like, I like the way this is edited. I really love this cool tone, and you have a lot of tones like that in some of the images, and you have some you have vertical shots, you have horizontal. I personally am leaning more towards horizontal. I know I say that a lot in a lot of people's collections. Maybe I'm biased towards horizontal shots, but I think some people do horizontal better than vertical. So, like in a shot like this, for instance, interesting to me. I mean, it's we see a lot of photos like this with like the empty road like leading into, but there's something missing for me in this shot. It's like it's not as good as some of the other ones. I don't know if there's just a subject that's missing. Maybe it's an elk crossing the road or this leading line leading into something, but I don't think that the mountain range is enough for me here. And I feel the same about sort of some of the other verticals. Although this has some interest to it, I do like this tree coming off here, and I like what's going on down here. I mean, maybe this tree on the left side just takes up a lot of the frame, and it just sort of throws off the composition for me. It makes it very busy. So yeah, some of the stronger pieces for me are, you know, this one here, Spirit Islands. um, this morning light at Wedge Pond. Like, I think this is a really beautiful shot too. I mean, it's a little bit saturated for my taste. So maybe the color grading is a little strange because it's so cool in some areas, and then it's just so warm in the other areas, and maybe it just needs like this middle ground balance or something for me. So the stronger ones, I think, obviously, I before I jump into AMAs, I normally are the ones that I think are like the strongest. Let me see this one here. Oh, I love this shot. This is great. And this is another example of like you either just like really over edit or you just nail it. And I think you just nailed it in this one. Like I like your photographs better in the true to life natural feeling look. And this has them. It has the leading lines in the trees, so that's I'll favorite that one as well. Sometimes I miss some when I'm looking over it. Nice shot. I don't think it's the best in the series. And this is an interesting shot as well, and like this is another example of where like I feel like you punched the clarity and you punched maybe the dehaze, or you did a little bit, a little much to try to add this drama to the photo where it just doesn't sit cohesively with some of the other shots where you didn't punch those levels. And maybe you have a photo series where you have heavily saturated stuff. And this shot is, I thought this is really sick. I think this is really cool shot. Like this feels like you're in like this igloo dome, and the light's shining in, and there's like this one way out like that. So just kind of going through it and just talking about each image, but it's Are you there, Steve? You want to talk a little bit? Is he muted or?
He should be unmuted. Let me double check.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, he's unmuted.
Well, that's fine. Maybe he's just listening. So, I don't know if I covered the questions there. Did I miss something? I mean,
it was which pieces are strongest, which can be eliminated, any tips on marketing. I'm not sure if you got all those.
Yeah, okay. So I didn't. So the ones that are strongest, I'm just gonna go through right now and just put a heart on them. Okay. As much as I like this, it just feels out of place in the series. I know you sold one of those star shots, but the one you sold feels a little bit more like it belongs. Yeah, I mean this one here is one of my favorites. This one here, this one here. This one feels a little out of place, but the crop is so much different from all the other crops, and you got your skies blown out. And, it's a weird detail. I don't know if you took this with a different type of. It almost feels like you took this with a different type of camera that has like a lower resolution, or I don't know. It just doesn't the color tone. It's so warm. I don't know. A lot of your stuff has a cold feel to it, and that's just really warm. I wouldn't select that one. But yeah, I think the stronger pieces. One's okay. Yeah, the stronger one pieces I put a heart on those, so he'll be able to go and see those. And the weaker pieces, I think, some ones that I didn't, or I didn't feel fit, into the same series. I don't know that these astro sort of star photos fit into these like muted, um, these muted landscape shots or seascape shots. Like this foggy present shot doesn't feel like neon should be in the same series as that. And I feel the same way about this. I feel like this is saturated to the point of neon. And so, you only have one buyer, so you could rework this whole collection. And it doesn't need to be this many images. I don't think it needs to be 21. I think you can make this, I think you could make this 10 to 12, 10 to 15 or something like that. And marketing, as far as marketing goes, I mean, yeah, clearly it doesn't look like many people have seen the work. There's not many favorites on them. That doesn't mean that people don't like them. I just think that it means that there's not a lot of eyes on them. Clearly, you know how to make a great landscape photograph. I mean, the only form of marketing that I really know is being really active on Twitter, and I guess I've gained my own marketing through doing, helping people, doing AMAs, talking in chat spaces, and people remembering who I am because I feel a certain way. I mean, that's only when I think of marketing, I just think of building relationships. So whatever that means to you, get out about that. I mean, outside of that, you can put whatever 6 to 8 best shots you think are in here. You can throw them into a grid, make them your pinned tweet, do something like that. And yeah, that's all I have really. I think you make some really great landscapes. I just think that you're just I just don't know that you know how to sequence them in a collection to feel the same mood, and that's my main concern. So
Mike,
yeah, so go
this
ahead.
one, he's been trying to speak, but his mic's having issues. But
Oh,
I just
okay.
want to know that.
Well, I mean, as long as he could hear what I've said, I mean, I think I've answered all the questions that that he was concerned with. And he can always hit me up and speak to me another time too. If he doesn't get it. Maybe he can exit the chat and come back in. We only have one person left after this, so I'll move on to the next person. But let me see if his descriptions are good. But if he gets back on and he wants to talk, descriptions look great. Then we can chat about what I just talked about. So. The last collection is the Tales of Two Motions, and do we have John 45 here?
No, this was someone that had to go.
That's fine. Okay. So had I known that, I would have done it a bit earlier. So his collection is very abstract. It says my brother and I have a great relationship. We live in the same town. We always like to spend time with each other, play music, talk about things like crypto, drink coffee in the morning, beers in the evening. Sounds like a pretty good life. Sometimes whiskey. But we are also the opposite in some way. With our similarities and our differences, we shaped each other, and we continue to do so. Got a little grammatical thing. I'm going to continue here. Not big. I like what you've written so far. With story in mind, I try to come up with a way to create images that reflect that, not only for the final edit, but also capture the technique of intentional camera movement. One motion from left to right, and for the second one, I flip the camera and do the same motion. The result created is symmetrical. Each image has its unlockables containing two photos blended in the final image at the highest resolution. Every holder at the moment of the sold out will receive an airdrop, a new image edition, one of two from the collection, and one lucky holder will receive a one of one edition. That's cool. He's got some utility. So if you look at these, these are, I believe, photographs of actual. Sorry, because I read this one. I read this one. What you're looking at is an abstract image of the horizon from a small road that goes through my hometown. So these are super minimal and they feel like really painterly. And I definitely like the work. Why I picked it. I definitely think there's some that are stronger than others. Those are the ones that I hearted. So we'll take a look at some of those. Growth. I can go and I can read the story about like how he shot this and stuff. I mean, I'm not as concerned. I'm more concerned with like just the beauty and abstractness of it and how it flows and how the purples and the blues have like a wonderful color relationship and there's some thickness and some of it and some of the whites feel more translucent. It really pops. Like this is one of my personal favorites, an abstract image of a Swiss flag in the wind. So I I don't I just like that, you know. So like for me as an artist or collector, whatever, that's enough for me. Like this image was taken panning the camera from up down to I don't care for the technique. Maybe some people do. I just want this because like this is enough for me to like you're not giving me all the answers, but you're letting my mind sort of create something with this. And I that's something that I can appreciate. Maybe other collectors want to know more. I don't really want to know more. Another really beautiful one. This is my personal favorite of the collection. An abstract image of the top of a church. So that's all I need. Like really, really beautiful. I think I would have a really hard time creating these unless he showed me how to do it. I would not know. Um, I'm just opening up the ones that I have favorited that I think would work really well to begin with. Wonderful stuff. Probably a really nice frame. Abstract image of a wooden barrier on the side of a small road. Maybe we'll talk about some of the ones that I don't think work as well. So ivy. It could just be me. I now that I'm relooking at it, I don't know, I feel some relationship to hair or something. This is an image of some ivy growing at the corner of two walls. It feels like the back of like a redheaded girl's hair, which is interesting. Or maybe I do like that a little bit more. Abstract image of the side of a small church. The dark areas of the image in the roof. The yellow-orange tones are the ivy growing on the walls. The sky gives the lighter tones of the image. This one has a really flowy feel to it. I really like that. So, at the beach. This one's nice. It's a little bit too minimal for me. I know there's some people out there that really love that level of minimalism, but I think so the collection is of 15, sold 2 of them so far. I think you probably lose maybe a couple of these like really brown ones, and pick the best ones of those brown ones. Was there specific questions that they had? I really
Um,
like the work.
they asked, how do I get more eyes on my work? And then they said that overall they're just questioning the quality of their work.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, the quality of the work, I think is really good. I like I like the small description of like what it is, but I don't really want to know like how you did it. Like for some reason that kind of takes away from me. I kind of like the mystery of it. I think the quality of the work is really good. I think there's definitely ones that stand out, and I think I've favorited the ones that I think stand out over some of the other ones. Um, See the valley. So like this one, the valley to me, it's not. I don't. It's it's just not as beautiful as the rest. I mean, I feel like it needs more color than just the brown, and I just I don't feel it's I don't know. I'm not getting something from it. I don't know. Some abstract I can really form a feeling from, and some of it I can't deep down. that's another one where I it's just not my favorite. So as far as quality of the work goes, I mean, I think the ones that I favorited are really high quality. I think I think that's so beautiful. I think that it's a photograph makes it just even more beautiful, and that it's like not like it's not colored pencils or something, or it's not painted. I'd probably choose between I'd personally remove these two. I'm not a fan of these two. Um, I'd probably pick between the horizon and just the touch. So this is just the touch, and this is the horizon. And I don't know. What is just the touch? What is that? One of my personal favorites. You got a lot of personal favorites. An abstract image of the side of a wheat field with a very fast motion. Okay, and then this one has a more interesting story to me. You're looking at an abstract image of a horizon from a small road that goes around my town. So I like this one. I would probably choose this one over the other one. It's very similar. And just have I think that this work could be broken down from 15, and I would be able to take this down in half. And I think there's just too many brown ones, like these brown. It's too many thick brown ones. Whereas maybe a few brown ones like this flowy one, and a couple of other ones. But yeah, I think one row of these maybe it'd be a better start. Like maybe just 6 instead of 15. Like one row of the best ones is a better start, and sell that out and continue to make more of these, and then move on to like a part 2 of the next best. So I think the quality's there. When it comes to marketing, I've said it over and over in here. Like I don't really know how to market any better than make a nice grid of the best ones, the best 6. Make sure it's your pinned post so people see that's your pinned post. Find your community. MetaJungle is obviously a great one. Maybe there's another community that has to do with experimental photography and slow shutter speed and abstract, and maybe build a community around that. Build some more relationships with people within the community. Like you truly ask yourself, like how much are you putting out there? The more you put out there, the more you're gonna get back. So yeah, that's all I have on that collection. That's the last collection, and we're at we hit 3 hours, so I think that's good. So yeah. I think I covered everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. See who's here still. Metagirl, Goon. Yeah, I mean, we went through a lot today. 12 different artists. A lot of art. Appreciate a lot of artists that got on the mic and spoke a lot about their work. Some artists in particular spoke even more than I did about their work, and it was interesting to hear their process and their perspective and everything like that. And I think it was a really good AMA overall. And uh, you know,
Yeah, I think all of the artists were actually here too today.
yeah, that's great. So I think I appreciate the help of Boss Mom, especially lately with getting in the chat and telling people be more descriptive about their submissions. And I've seen after a couple times she did that people have been more descriptive with their submissions. So there's just a lot of submissions now, and yeah, there's a lot of beautiful work, and yeah, and make sure that your descriptions have that information in, because a lot of the collectors now they want to collect if you got your artist name, your collection name, and really want to know that it's a 1 of 1. If it's a 1 of 1, if it's a 30 of 30, let us know that it's 30 of 30, because that information stays with us when we buy the photograph. Like Metagirl was saying, like Emma was saying, like in the main description, you can change that anytime you want. So it's not really a receipt. The image description is a receipt that stays with the collector. And so, yeah, I just want to relay again, just to stay out there and be consistent and believe in yourself. Continue to make work. It's easy to get wrapped up in being on Twitter and spaces and stuff like that, but we have to find balance and be out there and also making the artwork and adding to it. And building relationships with people and being kind to people. Take the focus from yourself to others, and a lot will happen around you. And once again, a great AMA. Can't believe we're at number 8. And thanks, MetaJungle. That's really all I have.
Thank you, Mike. It was definitely enjoyable. Sorry I was in a little bit later than I had hoped for, but definitely appreciate the time. And it is awesome to have so many artists participating this time. So hopefully we can continue to see that increasing. And yeah, it's a great time to spend together. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for attending, and thank you, Mike, for hosting.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good day, everybody. I'll see you in the metaverse. Bye.
Bye.